Summer lingers in the air, in the sound, open skies, worn boots. One more night before it's gone. Gulls summer send-off.
The Gulls take game one.
And he's looking for the strikeout to put an exclamation point on this series, and he does.
And for the first time in franchise history, the Sylvan Lake Gulls head to the WCBL championship. There will be a new WCBL champion this season. That's got a chance.
Or a home
Where
run.
is it going?
Good
is it
night.
enough? Yes, it does. Marcus Abelhosen with the walk-off homer.
The Sylvan Lake Gulls have got the dog off their back. They are headed to the WCBL championship final with an 8-4 win.
A hot and smoky evening in central Alberta sets the stage for the long-awaited WCBL Championship final rematch between the Regina Red Sox and the Sylvan Lake Gulls. Good evening, ladies and gentlemen. Welcome back to Gulls Field for the first time since the All-Star break. I'm Cale Clark, and this is Scott Stimson as we invite you into the Gulls Nest and to Gulls baseball right here on FloCollege, brought to you by Visit Sylvan Lake. So happy to have you tuning in and watching wherever you may be tuning in from. Scott, I think that this is one of those games where the Sylvan Lake Gulls are going to be, well, circling on the calendar since the very beginning of the season and this franchise, because the last time the Red Sox were at this stadium, they left a sour taste and they had a little bit of a numbing sting in the hearts of the Sylvan Lake Gulls franchise.
Yeah, the last time they met, 2025 finals, and like you said, a sour taste, up by 2. A strike away from closing out on a championship, and it doesn't quite work out. So needless to say, they're not happy from that, but things did not get better in the finals after that either.
They sure didn't. I mean, Regina goes into Game 3 riding that little momentum. Now, they got up to a 3-0 lead over the Gulls, but then the Gulls would come back to tie it in the 5th inning. Before then, in the 6th inning, they gained their first lead on a terrible error that the Regina Red Sox had in that game. But then, of course, the Red Sox had to respond in the 7th. It was 0 down, runners at 3rd and 2nd, a really good shot into left field that drove in 2 runs to regain the lead. And then, of course, it was kind of back and forth defensively. Things were tight, and the Gulls did a good job defensively on the mound to close things out a lot better than they did in Game 2. But it just wasn't enough, as in that last at-bat would go right to center field, and the Regina Red Sox would silence Gulls Field and this crowd and this organization, just leaving a numb sting in the hearts of the fans and this organization, because it has just been like that now since last season, and it has been a long-awaited rematch between the Regina Red Sox and the Sylvan Lake Gulls. But it's a chance for the Gulls to redeem themselves, get a little bit of that revenge back, and get a much-needed win as they come in on a 3-game schneid here into tonight's matchup. Taking a look at your starting pitcher tonight, that is Reese Hemmerling, getting his 7th start as a Gull, 3-2 record, a 2.6 ERA. He's got over 34 innings of work, 28 strikeouts, only walking 6 batters, giving up 26 hits and only 10 earned runs. So pretty good numbers there by Reese Hemmerling.
Yeah, if there's a guy that you want to bounce back, he's your starter.
This is who he's going to face.
Jalen Myers, Jake Fowler, Daniel Castellanos will lead things off for the Red Sox to start this inning, and they're going to be rounded out by their shortstop, Lance Anderson, as they're looking to get things rolling.
And then defensively, the Gulls have a little bit of changes. John Boy Rittenhouse, Dom Giusti, and Charlie Collins in the outfield. Now, that's similar. That's familiar, I should say, for the Gulls. But infield, this is where things get different. The return of Cleary Simpson from year one, the OG, the original for the Gulls, getting back in the lineup, coming back to the Gulls. Jaden Flores is going to fill in now at shortstop, as we mentioned a little bit. Gavin Roy, in my pregame hit to the audience here at the crowd, he is going to be the guy that's going to be filling in for Gavin Roy's old position. But there's Cleary Simpson. Great to see him back in the lineup here, and his first game back in Sylvan Lake over now a couple of years. And he came back, I think, was it maybe not last year, the year before, came in, had a stretch of games just to kind of get back in the swing of things. But cool to see him come in such a key moment of the season, trying to finish the job of what he started with this franchise, getting this team up and underway and going, and a franchise that has made their name for themselves in a short matter of time.
Yeah, this could be a really cool full circle moment for him, especially if the Gulls go deep in playoffs and have some championship aspirations as well.
And a good pitch there by Hammerling has Jalen Myers swinging around on the check swing to be a called strike 1-2. Hammerling working the count right now. Just underway, the rematch of the WCBL championship final from last year between the Regina Red Sox and the Sylvan Lake Gulls is a go here tonight, and it is a smoky and a hot one that is kind of maybe foreshadowing what's to come in this ballgame. 2-2 the count to Myers, Jake Fowler, the second on deck hitter, and then Daniel Castellanos. As Daniel Castellanos is another returning Regina Red Sox. Brady Bye, the MVP, is the number 4 hitter from last year. Now a full count here to Myers, and he goes around swinging. Chases that one to the outside, and Reese Hemmerling starts this game with a strikeout.
Yeah, Myers had some good patience on the last few pitches, was holding off of those, but Hemmerling, that one just must have looked different out of the hand there for Myers as he was swinging and missing at that one. That one was, I don't know if it was ever in the zone, but that's what you want from Reese Hemmerling. First punch out of the game, get up early in the count. Didn't quite get him out, but you end up finishing the job, so a good start to this one.
Jake Fowler, the second baseman, steps in now and takes an off-speed right down the middle for a called strike. Let's finish the infield here, as we didn't quite finish where we were at. Maddox Shaver is playing second here tonight, and then Coleman Perry over at first with Eli Duncan behind the plate calling balls and strikes, and that pitch just missing outside as it was a squared bunt attempt by Jake Fowler. And that gets away down on the turf. And we talked about the infield and how Jaden Flores is filling in over at the shortstop position. Now, last year, if you remember, and I'm sure he doesn't want to remember, in fact, he's probably trying to forget it, as this ball is hit to center field, which should be playable for Dom Giusti, and he will settle underneath for the second out of the inning. But Jaden Flores was the guy that ball was hit to on the final strike, final out to the Red Sox that would win the Gulls a championship, and it was a hard hit ball. I mean, he stopped it. It wasn't necessarily, they obviously credited him an error on the play, but at the end of the day, it was a tough play to make. And unfortunately, with the nerves and the adrenaline running through you, the Regina Red Sox would find a way to have him bobble it enough that they would come around to tie that game in game 2. And then this ball goes right over the glove of Jaden Flores, trying to make a great play on the dive, but it just sneaks past him in the outfield. Speaking of Jaden Flores, another hard hit ball right to him. The Regina Red Sox just something with Jaden Flores, I think.
Are you having a little flashback there?
Yeah, a little bit.
That was a hot shot right past shortstop. There's not much he could do there.
No.
That's just where he positioned. He was darn close to the right position there, but just missing, and a single here for the Red Sox.
Of course, Tyler Graves getting the night off as well, so Flores will be filling in as that shortstop position. And then that brings up the playoff MVP from last year, Brady Bye, who's having himself yet another terrific season with the Regina Red Sox, hitting .325, 51 RBIs on the year, and 10 homers. And he does what he does best, lifting this into the gap of left center field, and that's going to drop. The throw from Juicy coming in, and they don't get him. They say the hand beat the tag out from Cleary Simpson.
Yeah, that was a close play there. A good heads up for Juicy to try to tag him out there, and just snuck his hand on the base.
He took that right arm behind him and tucked it behind him, and that left hand got there first.
Yeah, nice little swim move for Castellanos. And Brady Bye gets runners on the corners now.
Well, Regina wasting absolutely no time here in this first frame of this ball game, getting a couple hits back-to-back on Reese Hemmerling.
Got to be aggressive out of the gates, and that's what Regina's doing. They're getting their opportunities. They're trying to stretch things out. It's early. You can make up for mistakes, or you can cash in on them right away.
Yeah, we talk about redemption. We talk about how the Gulls want to redeem themselves against this team that upset them and broke everybody's hearts last year. And if anybody wants redemption more, you think it's Jaden Flores, because he not only had that error in Game 2 that was critical, but also to start Game 3, it was ended up another kind of similar play that was hit to Flores that ended up being an error that would score, that go on to score the Red Sox first runs of the game in Game 3. That would then see them go up by 3-0. So like I said, if anybody wants to forget those games, it's him. And if anybody wants to redeem themselves even more so, it's also Flores. Hemmerling, though, couple strikeouts to end that inning. Gets out of it with runners on the corner. A great pitch there by Reese Hemmerling. And we will see the Gulls coming to bat in the bottom of the first inning. But some great work on the mound and another great start by the Sylvan Lake Gulls.
Summer lingers in the air, in the sound, open skies, worn boots, one more night before it's gone. Gulls summer send-off.
Chris Hahn will be the starter for the Regina Red Sox here in this rematch of the WCBL Championship Final from last year. Now he's got 5 starts under his belt already this year. This will be his 6th. 31 innings of work. He's got 27 strikeouts, a 2.61 ERA. He's 2-1 on the year, and he's given up just 29 hits, walking just 11 batters with a 27 strikeout count. Pretty good numbers there. And who he's going to have to face is going to be a similar order that we've seen all year long, but also a little bit different.
Yeah.
Dom Juicy.
Dom Juicy leading things off. Cleary Simpson, like you mentioned, the new old face back in the lineup. Charlie Collins will be the 3-hitter, and then you got power with Elijah Hamill looking to round things out in the 4 spot. Maddox Shaver will clean up this lineup.
And then you got Jalen Myers out in left field, Rain Krekelwetz at center, Alex Rowe in right field, and then Chance Deskelchuk at third, Lance Anderson, Jake Fowler, Brady Bye, and Daniel Castellanos, the catcher of the game here tonight for the Regina Red Sox. So Sylvan Lake, obviously been a little bit of a struggle in the last few years, or last few games, I should say, since the All-Star break. They get the win in Fort Mac. Coming out of the break, things are looking good. And then the tires start to fall off in Fort McMurray, ending that 2-game series. They lose to the Giants. They go to Energy City yesterday for a doubleheader, and they lose both games. One being 3-2 game, which was a close one, but then the first one, 10-1, and it wasn't even close. And, of course, they ran into the hot pitcher in Bezoujan, who was had Sylvan Lake's number all year long so far. And first pitch swing, or second pitch, I should say, swung on and popped up by Dom Juicy for out number 1.
Yeah, and they're not really having it any easier tonight with the Red Sox, as Chris Hahn is one of the better pitchers in the WCBL. You saw it with his stats as he came to the mound.
And the first at-bat at home for Clary Simpson in his return. The original OG Clary Simpson from the inaugural Gulls franchise season back in the lineup. That is so cool to see. A guy that has been here since day one comes back and ends up finding himself in the lineup with, Gavin Roy signing his very first pro contract in the Frontier League in Quebec. I mean, that is some really cool things to happen for the Sylvan Lake Gulls in this last week, as Clary Simpson hits it right on the ground to shortstop. Tries to beat out the throw, has some good wheels, but Lance Anderson beats him with the throw over to Brady Bye for out number 2. And just like that, Regina has gone 2 up, 2 down, and they're playing some of their best baseball as of late, Scott. I mean, 5 straight wins coming into tonight's game.
If there's a time to get hot, it's probably the last 3 weeks, 2 weeks heading into playoffs. They're starting to slide up the standings a little bit, looking to make some noise as they go down the stretch.
And you know what? It almost is like deja vu, because this is exactly what happened last year for the Regina Red Sox. They heated up right at the end of the season. They got hot in the playoffs, and then they just couldn't be stopped. Now, I wouldn't be surprised if the Regina Red Sox could maybe pull it off again. However, a little bit of a different story this year. Saskatoon was the talk of the season last year. Moose Jaw is the talk of the season in the East right now. 13 straight wins for the Moose Jaw Miller Express. They're the hottest team in the league right now. As much as Regina's putting some wins together, it's hard to cool down the Moose Jaw Miller Express right now.
And that's nothing against Saskatoon. They've been rock solid this season as well.
Yeah.
Just Moose Jaw, when you're on a streak that hot, you're going to pass some teams, and they ended up passing Saskatoon in the standings to lead the East.
Yeah, I mean, you got teams that are kind of going about their business just fine. Maybe not putting up crazy numbers. They're winning. They're going 8-2 in their last 10, 7-3 in their last 10. But when you got teams like Moose Jaw just winning 13 straight, can't be defeated, well, it's kind of going to maybe shadow you a little bit. 1-2 to Collins, and he swings around on it for a 3-up, 3-down inning. First strikeout of the night for Chris Hahn, and just like that, it is scoreless after one complete inning. Great pitch there, has Collins out underneath of it, and the Gulls come to the field next.
For more than 40 years, we've been there, helping Canadians find the extra space they need to grow and to create new memories. Sentinel Storage. Try 4 weeks free. Details at sentinelstorage.ca.
For over a century, we've been more than just lawyers. We're your neighbors, your friends, and your strongest advocates. With 15 locations across the prairies, we're everywhere you are. Stringham, your local lawyers.
Have you ever wondered if there's one thing that connects people from across our province? Something that connects the coffee shop to the spray park, or the brewery to the rodeo, the campground to the sports field. It's pretty amazing when you think about how it's all connected, because it truly is. And it's all we think about, so you don't have to.
Regina Red Sox coming in on a 5-game heater here in the top of the second inning. Scoreless game between the Sylvan Lake Gulls and the Regina Red Sox. First game of 2 that we will see here at Gulls Field right near the end and late stages of this regular season. You almost wonder if they purposely scheduled these games to kind of look like that because of how last season ended, and to have these two teams going at it when the time of the season matters, kind of unique in a way, as this ball's fouled off into the crowd, just right of the berm.
You look at the schedule too, and if it wasn't already a playoff type scenario, these last 2 weeks for the Gulls are going to feel like the playoffs. You got Regina, you got Saskatoon, you got Lethbridge and Brooks in a doubleheader, you got Regina again, you got Okotoks 3 more times before the season's out, and you got Lethbridge a handful of times.
And this ball is a looper into left field that will drop for a base hit. So Regina getting some hits together and just picking up from where they've left off, rolling with that confidence and the momentum that they have built over the last 5 games. As that drops right in front of John Boy Rittenhouse, and Alex Rowe will lead things off with a base hit. But yes, 10 games left at home for the Sylvan Lake Gulls. Crazy to think we're already at that point in the season. And yes, most of those games being at home in the last stretch of this regular season, as we talked about it. They will go to Okotoks yet again next Thursday, and they will go to Lethbridge for a pair. But otherwise, that's it. So 13 games left on tap, 10 of them being here at Gulls Field.
That's probably the nice part for the Gulls, get a little home cooking and try to kind of get right feeling as you head into the playoffs. So obviously those are very important games.
This is Chance Deskelchuk as he fouls it off. And Chance Deskelchuk, who is the third baseman for the Regina Red Sox, getting a taste of what Gulls Field is all about. And he's got a .234 batting average, 13 RBIs, 2 homers, and 15 hits in his 64 at-bats. And he fouls off 2 in a row.
Hit and run was on.
Yeah, hit and run was on.
Rowe was off on basically the leg up on the pitch.
Reno Reese will be the DH, and he is on deck. Number 3 scheduled batter to start the top half of the second inning. Hammerling with an 0-2 count, trying to get him to chase after it. The off speed. Hammerling, one of the top starters of the Sylvan Lake Gulls this year. You got a good number of starters. I think for the Sylvan Lake Gulls, what they're going to be running into is the hit and run is on yet again. That's going to drop in for another base hit, but because it was in a territory where they weren't sure it was going to be caught, that kept Alex Rowe at second, not trying to turn the corner to go to third. And of course, it was closest to third base as well, where that ball dropped, so he's not going to take any chances there.
Yeah, Rittenhouse was able to cut that one off pretty quickly after one hop and kind of slow things down for the Red Sox, but they're lurking. They got the first 2 hitters of this inning on the base paths, and they have no outs.
I don't think the Red Sox want us to talk much on this broadcast other than what's going on the field, because we got a lot to talk about tonight. And, of course, as soon as we get into talking about something, there's a base hit somewhere. So, and just like that, again, on the ground, a good scoop there by Perry on the dive, making the play to Hammerling, and he's going to beat out the run. Great job there by Hammerling to get there in time. Of course, Maddox Shaver did come over to maybe help out with that play as well, but runners do advance, so the job is done by Regina. A soft hit ball right off the fists. Great play by Coleman Perry to read that play.
Yeah, Coleman Perry looked like he was kind of in a little bit, almost expecting that to happen, and it ends up going right to him. Good job to close the gap on that ball and throw it over to Hammerling. Everyone knew what they needed to do on that play to get that out.
So now runners in scoring position for the first time this evening with 2 in scoring position. That is Regina with a runner at third and second. Lance Anderson rounding out the batting order, the shortstop, looking to score the first run of the game, and that's going to get past the catcher, which will score the first run of the game. A pass ball gets by Eli Duncan, and there is our first run scored.
Yeah, not much Eli Duncan could do on that one. He tried to reach back and grab it, but it was essentially in the other batter's box. That's a hard one to stop, and not great when you have pressure on the base paths as well.
So Regina scores on the pass ball. Chance Deskelchuk now at third, and that is caught at center field. Dom Juicy will make the catch, but it will do the job as it'll be a sacrifice flyout RBI for Jalen Myers.
Very productive at bat there for Lance Anderson. Basically scores 2 runs on that play with the run coming in off the wild pitch and then getting that one just deep enough to center field for Chuck to come home on that play.
Yeah, my apologies. That was Lance Anderson. I'm already getting ahead of myself. Here is Jalen Myers. He hits it softly on the ground right to Reese Emmerling, who has a little bit of a dramatic throw over to Coleman Perry, lobs it in the air. Perry had to go up to catch it, but makes the catch nonetheless and gets the out. But not before the Regina Red Sox do put 2 on the board to start things off on the road. The Gulls coming to bat at the bottom of the second.
For more than 40 years, we've been there, helping Canadians find the extra space they need to grow and to create new memories. Sentinel Storage. Try 4 weeks free. Details at sentinelstorage.ca.
For over a century, we've been more than just lawyers. We're your neighbors, your friends, and your strongest advocates. With 15 locations across the prairies, we're everywhere you are. Stringham, your local lawyers.
Yo, you going?
Yes.
Can I join you guys? All right, let's go.
Whether it's on the ice or on our app, always play for the fun of the game. Gamble responsibly with Play Alberta.
Well, now the Sylvan Lake Gulls find themselves down 2-0 early on here at home against the Regina Red Sox. So the Red Sox have just put together a heck of a start, and so has this pitcher in Chris Hahn, because he's only had 8 pitches so far, and he's already retired 3 batters in this ball game. This is going to be a tough out, though. Elijah Hamill steps up to the plate to lead things off here in the bottom half of the second inning, and Elijah Hamill has had a bat this season.
Yeah, he's going to be a guy they look to turn to today if they need some momentum to swing. He's only batting today as the designated hitter, so this is where he needs to basically be lights out for the Gulls.
Yeah, this is his job, is to just do something with the bat. And he's, having a heck of a season so far. .310 is what his average is coming into today's game, 19 RBIs. He's tied for the leading hitter in home runs with Maddox Shaver at 7 coming into this game. And he hits one hard up the middle, and that will drop for a base hit to get things going in the right direction for Sylvan Lake's offense.
Yeah, it's just what they needed there. Just find something to get on board, and that's Elijah Hamill singling one out to center field. Look to get things going, and now you kind of get to the meat and potatoes part of the order. John Boy Rittenhouse is a guy who can cash in some runners.
Sure can. He leads his team with RBIs. Loves driving in runs. I think that's just kind of what he likes to do for a living. 42 RBIs he has on the season, among the top leaders in the league with RBI counts as well. I mean, he's in some good company. Brady Bye with 51, and some other big hitters as well in the league. Those RBI counts are high this year.
Yeah, league leader is Jake Hiramoto for Swift Current with 55, and we're going to see one of the better ones this coming weekend. Ethan Murdoch and Josh Henson for Saskatoon are both in the top 10 as well.
And Rittenhouse will send a little blooper to center field, shallow center field that is, and the hits keep coming now for Sylvan Lake as they get some traction with the bats. As you take a look at this, right kind of off the end of the bat. Didn't get a lot of it.
It almost sounded like a broken bat when he made the hit. It sounded like it kind of cracked, but you'll take it however you can get. He gets on base. Now you're sitting like the Red Sox were. First 2 guys on base. Let's keep the ball rolling here.
So Coleman Perry now steps up, and this was the guy last home game that the Gulls had, which was back on July 16th hit a grand slam against the top team in the West Division, the Okotoks Dogs, and that really solidified that win for the Gulls. So Coleman Perry looking to pick up from where he left off here at home. And first pitch swinging, you know, and that's what we were talking about. These teams are being aggressive and they're, you know, wasting no time. You got to kind of attack the zone, attack the batter with that bat, you know. Just take some swings, and they are.
Well, that's the thing. When you're facing good pitches, you're going to have to swing at some point because most of them are going to be in the strike zone. So you just got to be aggressive and see what you can do.
Yeah, pitchers attacking the zone, and the hitters are attacking the plate. So 1-1 the count to Perry, the American Fork, Utah kid. Northwest Nazarene University product. A smoky, hot evening here in Sylvan Lake on this Friday night to kickstart the weekend. Smoke coming in from fires north of Alberta, North Saskatchewan. Not sure if there are any in BC right now. I'm sure there's a couple. But, yeah, a lot of forest fires burning. I mean, we're getting the rain here, but clearly there are parts in northern Alberta and northern Saskatchewan that are not getting the precipitation. You know those words that will sometimes just kind of catch you and they always kind of get you locked up on? Well, that's me. Those are the ones. Precipitation and participation. Those two, every time, make me have to really think hard before I say the word. Just because they're so close together.
They are different sounding words, but they're very similar.
Similar and but different at the same time.
Yeah.
But, you know, there's just some words that just kind of lock your brain a little bit. Yeah, that one is one for me. In case you didn't notice by now. Coleman Perry, even count 2-2. Red Sox up 2-0. Now the count full. Gulls looking to respond here in the second inning. And just looking at, I think, getting the confidence back. I mean, they're on a 3-game losing skid coming into tonight's game. And with the home crowd behind them, you know, like you're talking about, this is probably the time of season where if you're going to go through a little bit of some struggles, now's the time. Coleman Perry hits it in the center field, and that will be caught, and it's shallow enough that keeps the runners all at bay where they're currently at.
Very patient at bat there for Coleman Perry. Kind of went down early in the count, but he worked his way back into full and then got a pitch that he could try to hit. Just didn't quite get it deep enough to center field to advance any runners, but it feels like it kind of slowed the game down a little bit. We've been pretty fast-paced. That's probably the longest at bat we've had, just time-wise as well as pitch-wise.
Yeah, absolutely. Couldn't have said it better. This will bring up Jaden Flores, who is playing as the shortstop in this ball game. Now, he came into Sylvan Lake, had a hot start, and then he has since kind of cooled down. He was hitting over 500 in his first 2 games, and now he's hitting overall in 10 games. He's hitting .259, 8 RBIs, 1 homer, 7 hits in 27 at-bats. So here's a guy looking to kind of get his confidence, the momentum back in his swing, and the revenge against the team that made him pay an ultimate price last year.
Yeah, it'd probably feel good to score at least 1 run in against a team that maybe not haunts him, but it's probably in the back of his mind somewhere, I'd imagine.
Yeah. Well, he's got the opportunity. 0-2. Runners at first and second. And he hits it over the glove of the third baseman, Chance Deskelchuk, and bases are loaded. Deskelchuk made a great stab at this play, though. You got to give him credit. He went high and in the air for this ball, where most third basemen wouldn't be able to even get close to. But he hit it right off the tip of his glove. And the Gulls now load the bases with just 1 away.
Yeah, he did everything that he could to catch it, but just not able to come down with that out, and that would have been a interesting play there. Obviously, you'd pick up the second out, but maybe you got a chance to double someone up. Didn't quite happen, though, and because of that, Elijah Hamill not able to gain any momentum on the base paths. If he knows that's over his head, he's coming around third hard and probably scoring.
So now Eli Duncan steps up to the plate here. One away and bases loaded situation against the Red Sox, down 2-0. And he hits it good, but right off the end of the bat, foul out in the field. Here's a guy that was at the Birdie Bash on a hole 3, and he was the celebrity hitter for the Sylvan Lake Gulls. He picked up a baseball and he hit the ball, and wherever he hit the ball and where it landed was where we got to tee off from on that hole. And he hits it hard on the ground right to the third baseman. They're going to try to turn it on a double, and they will. The Regina Red Sox turn the double play and get out of a bases-loaded jam. As a hard-hit ball was stopped right by Deskelchuk, gets an opportunity to redeem himself on the last play, makes the throw to Fowler before it gets over to Bye, and it's still 2-0 for the Regina Red Sox. But before we go, we're not going to go to break because we're going to talk about something very special. Now, obviously, first time at home since the All-Star break in Saskatoon, and this is what all went down as it started with the bunt competition. That was Maddox Shaver, who was the bunt guy for the Sylvan Lake Gulls, and that one just rolling a little far. Got 1 point. And, you know, he had some fun. Beautiful day, by the way, in Saskatoon for the All-Star weekend, as this was on the Saturday afternoon with the All-Stars competition. They had the bunts, and then they had the homers. They had, you know, a bunch of different type of activities going on throughout the day that kept everybody entertained. Then the home run derby. Reese Sherman was the Gulls hitter for the home run derby, and he ended up making it in the finals.
Yeah, he had a pretty good run, getting a few home runs off the bat, and like you said, made it to the final. I think he was a top 3 kind of guy there, so a good showing for the Gulls on the competition side of things, and I think they also did pretty well in the actual game itself.
Yeah, they did. I mean, all 5 guys saw some action in this All-Star game. You took a look at Braden Stewart. There he is coming out on the field. But Kai Rempel started things on the mound for Team West and got a strikeout in that game. Good pitch there with his off-speed. And then how about this? Elijah Hamill does what Elijah Hamill does best, knocking in. That is Maddox Shaver, who comes in across the plate while Hamill gets safe over at first. Then Reese Sherman's like, okay, my turn. I'll hit a blooper right up the left side and land in for a base hit. He gets on. And then, of course, this is Braden Stewart to close things out with a high fastball, what he does best. And then, of course, the last play of the game for Team West as Team East took it to the West 9-2. A little bit of a surprise, but it was a fun day all in all for the Sylvan Lake Gulls and the All-Star break in Saskatoon. Good job, by the way. Tip the caps to Saskatoon for hosting a great All-Star break. There's Maddox Shaver there, who was in the bunt competition and did a pretty good job with it as well, getting on the board. And you saw that one bunt that he laid down, and it just kept rolling. It just wouldn't stop. And of course, those sheets that they put down right down the line, those are like just, you know, plastic, or, you know, they're slippery, so it's not going to hold the ball at all. It's just going to, wherever the ball rolls is where it's going to keep going.
Yeah, you don't have the same grip as rolling it up the grass or turf.
Yeah. So the Gulls down 2-0. They had a chance. Runners were stranded on 3 bases, and there's a great play by Cleary Simpson getting back into this ball game as he comes in to take that ball, and it's a soft hit ball down the line, and he just gets on it right away and makes the dart throw over to Coleman Perry right on target. That's what Cleary Simpson can do for the Sylvan Lake Gulls. So that'll bring up Daniel Castellanos, who had that base hit back in the first inning. Yeah, tough start offensively for the Sylvan Lake Gulls. Bases loaded situation with 1 away, and they just can't get any runs out of it. But a good defensive effort, obviously, by the Red Sox.
Yeah, you see the kind of spark of the offensive engine there. They come close, but hopefully they're able to cash in later on this game as they're down early 2-0.
Ball hit on the ground right to Flores, who will scoop it up, make the soft throw, and in time for out number 2 of the inning.
Yeah, infield's looking silky smooth right now for the Gulls. Third base, now shortstop with Jaden Flores getting in on the action. A nice little throw over to first base. See if maybe Maddox Shaver's going to be the next out here.
Yeah, you never know. Brady Bye will step up to the plate. He also had that base hit right up the middle. And Brady Bye, again, one of those guys that the league talk about a lot. He is a very talented ball player. The Regina Red Sox, the league MVP from last season. Had a great year with Regina last year and carrying it over into this season. Leading by example, kind of the leader that they look to on this Regina Red Sox team to lead the way. And he hits it hard right into the gap at right field for a base hit to keep this inning alive. That's what Brady Bye does. Consistent. Mr. Consistent. He just knows how to find the holes and the gaps, and he puts some good barrel on the ball and finds the holes.
Yeah, a pretty sharply hit ball by Maddox Shaver. And just good contact, good pace to the swing, and gets on base.
So here's the center fielder, Rain Kreckelwetz, who will hit this shallow left field, and it's caught! John Boy Rittenhouse with a sensational grab out in left field to end this inning. Look at this. Wow. Doesn't get much better than that. Sylvan Lake coming to bat in the bottom of the third. All right, Maddox Shaver now will step into the plate here in the bottom half of the third inning. Sylvan Lake Gulls obviously looking to tie this ball game or get themselves on the board at the minimum. After bases loaded situation, we're all stranded on a beautiful double play by the Regina Red Sox. It was the long double play too, the 5-4-3 play.
Yeah, going right around the horn for that one.
Yeah. 1-1 the count to Shaver. And Maddox Shaver is one of those guys that has been playing pretty good too with the bats and with the fielding. 311 is his average on the year. He does, however, have the third most strikeouts, credit to him as a batter, for the Sylvan Lake Gulls. 20 RBIs though and 7 homers. And he pops this straight up behind home plate. It's in play, and it's going to be caught by the catcher and Daniel Castellanos.
Yeah, that one was popped up pretty high, just kind of over the screen height level behind home plate, and doesn't go too far. As you can see on that replay, just kind of to the Gulls logo before the Kind of colored warning track, you could say.
Handcuff Shaver too. A nice pitch up high inside. Kind of got him going right close to the hands, popping it straight up. So Dom Giusti back to the top of the batting order, takes that one on the outside for called strike.
Yeah, Han's been working his way around the zone, inside, outside, up, down, doesn't matter. He's locating.
Yeah, he's a heck of a pitcher. There's a reason why this guy is one of the top pitchers for this Regina Red Sox and one of the top pitchers in the league as well. And that's the thing that Sylvan Lake's going to have to work out, especially after struggling against some weaker teams as of late in the last 3 games. Now they got to get ready for good teams. And it's not going to get any easier come tomorrow and Sunday with the Saskatoon Berries in town for a pair of games. And then, of course, we look ahead and we got Lethbridge on Tuesday with Brooks also on Tuesday. That's a doubleheader between 2 different teams. And then you got the Regina Red Sox right back here again next week. So, yeah, you got to find a way to get that confidence back, to get those little kinks worked out now, because you don't want these kinks going into postseason baseball. Juicy hits it well, but foul down the left field line.
Yeah, you definitely want to be feeling like you're playing some of your best baseball, or about to be, when you roll into playoffs. And there's a team that you kind of look at and you see you're playing them 3 times in Lethbridge, and looks like the way the standings are now, you're probably going to see them a handful more times to start off playoffs.
And honestly, I kind of was thinking about it to myself earlier this afternoon. I was thinking, you know, what better way would it be for the Sylvan Lake Gulls to have a rematch WCBL final against this Regina Red Sox team? Just because the way the Regina Red Sox are just playing right now, the way they have strung some games together, you got to wonder, are they going to be that team again that comes into the postseason and is going to upset everybody? Are they going to be that team that turn it on a whole different dial, a whole different level, you know? And they've gone through some adversity, of course, with Rai Pathakos, their head coach. The team announced a week ago today he parted ways. So instead, you know, they got a guy that comes in, and that's Braden Cobb, who was the assistant coach, fills in as the affiliate head coach for this year. And this is popped out to center field, which is going to be playable and caught by Krekelwitz for out number 2. But, I mean, even with that coaching change, it didn't seem to affect or really bother the Red Sox in any way.
No, and that kind of speaks to what the team's like. Obviously, they're pretty tight-knit. No one's kind of rocking the boat, and obviously they have some buy-in from their new head coach that they're kind of have on the interim basis, but they just keep going in the upward trajectory where they need to go rounding into playoffs.
So I'll bring up Cleary Simpson. Now, I had a nickname for this kid ever since day one. We called him Clutch Cleary because Cleary Simpson was one of those guys that would come in clutch moments, and it just seemed to fit him well. And with 2 away, nobody on, it's up to Cleary Simpson to keep this inning alive in the bottom of the 3rd. Down 2-0. And he takes it a little bit inside, but it catches the zone for a strike.
When you look down the lineup and you see John Boy Rittenhouse kind of 3 batters away, it's probably a good pacing to have some clutch style hitting between the 2 of them, as Rittenhouse has really labeled himself as that style of player this season.
He sure has, yeah. And Simpson watches that one go by for another called strike. That one a 70-mile-per-hour pitch, 1-2. Good off speed there by Chris Hahn. Simpson holds back on it, and he pops it straight in the air, right into the berm. It lands for a fan to collect. Simpson drills this right down the line. That will stay fair, and he's going for extras. Great hit there by Cleary Simpson. A double right down the first base line.
Yeah, I'd say a 2-out rally double is kind of a clutch style hit right there as Cleary Simpson. That one was labeled for the line. He just gets it by first base, and then it rolls into the foul side, and that buys him some extra real estate so he can easily get to second base. So looking for a little late 2-out rally here.
That would be nice for Sylvan Lake. Charlie Collins steps up to the plate. The man from down under had a strikeout back at his first at bat here tonight, but my goodness, there's a kid that can hit. 351 average. He's got 24 RBIs, 3 homers, 33 hits in 94 at-bat appearances ahead of today's game.
He was a guy that was kind of carrying the water the last 2 weeks, maybe 3 weeks. He really got hot.
Yeah, he did. He really got on a whole different level. Was named the WCBL Player of the Week 2 weeks ago. And he picked up from where he left off last week before the All-Star break. Just kept on hitting the ball hard and driving in runs, driving it over the fence, doing everything and anything he could to help his team win. He's 1-1 right now. So far, 9 hits in this game through 2.5. And Cleary's got to get back, and he's safe. What a great dive there by Cleary Simpson. A little too close for comfort, though, for Sylvan Lake with 2 down. Simpson got kind of caught right in the middle of no man's land. And he takes a look up with his visor down.
That was kind of a dicey situation
Yeah,
right there,
close.
almost caught in no man's land.
Yeah, he kind of looked like he was going to try to steal third, and then he went back to second, and the throw came pretty quick. Great throw, too, by Daniel Castellanos. Ball hit softly on the ground to Anderson, who will field it and get it there just in the nick of time for out number 3. So another runner stranded on base for the Sylvan Lake Gulls. Can't do anything with it. And the Regina Red Sox will come to the plate in the top of the 4th.
Hey baseball fans, make sure to stay up to date with your favorite teams across the league by subscribing to the WCBL YouTube channel right now. We have tons of free coverage for you over there, including daily highlights, full archived game broadcasts, daily game day previews, plus the WCBL report with myself and Joe McFarland every Wednesday. It's all in one spot, the WCBL YouTube channel. Subscribe today.
Well, there is a very familiar face in the crowd. Ladies and gentlemen, that is former Gull Matty Fung, watching his old team here in Sylvan Lake, coming all the way from San Francisco. And he came up solo. Great to see him here in attendance, hanging out with his old billets. There's Andy there to his left. And just great to see Matty Fung taking in the ball game here with his former team, and, you know, watching the team that he played against in the WCBL Championship Final last year as well, looking for that redemption, hoping to see his team get the revenge that they oh so crave here tonight. Great shot, guys. Matty Fung in attendance. Now, I did know that he was going to be here this weekend. We got a little bit of a heads up because we were golfing with his billet, Andy, and Andy said, yeah, he's actually coming up this weekend for a week and watch some baseball games. So great to see Matty supporting his former team, and we wish Matty but nothing but the best moving forward in his baseball career. Leading things off is Alex Rowe at the plate, quickly down 0-2, and just like that, strikeout. 3-pitch strikeout for Reese Emmerling as the third K goes on the fence.
Yeah, he got up early in the count and throws the kitchen sink at him, and he was looking for some water, and he missed all of it there. That's a couple putouts he's had that way, just throwing some absolute garbage out there, hoping they're going to pick it up, and they miss it.
Yeah, you're not wrong. He was throwing the trash can at him with that one.
And then he comes right inside of the next pitch. He's getting it inside, outside. It's a pitcher's duel that we're seeing tonight. That's
yeah.
what we've seen on the other side of the bump as well for Regina.
Yeah, Chris Hand obviously doing some terrific work on the mound for the Regina Red Sox to start this ball game, and he's kind of been throwing all over the place too. Outside, inside, down, up high. He's working the zone. And Hammerling's working this count, 1-2 on Chance Deskelchuk.
Yeah, and you look at the board too, 5 hits to 4. It's pretty close. That's been 2 runs that have been the difference so far.
And the off speed is hit on left center field, and John Boy gets his wheels in motion to get there in time for out number 2.
Yeah, he's been busy out there recently. He had the inning-ending diving catch out in left field in the previous inning, and then he ranges over to his left side to catch that one. So he's been having a really good defensive game for the Gulls here, and that's kind of where they need that momentum to build. Get a quick inning here, get back to the bats.
Well, and the way that that ball was traveling and the way that John Boy was getting underneath. And here's John Boy again on the run, probably just absolutely dead tired. Thankfully, that lands foul on the wrong side of the territory, but he is probably just, man, trying to catch his wind still from that last play. But the way he was tracking that last play looked like he was almost going to be ready for another dive, because it looked like it was kind of quite a ways in between him and Dom Juicy, but he got there. And we take a look at it again, and here's a great replay from the guys in the truck. You know, he kind of looked like he was getting down and getting ready, and then he's like, oh, no, I'm actually going to get there in time with the wheels, and put on a great display of speed to get there. So Rena Reese, the DH hitter, will step up now. He grounded out right to Coleman Perry, who made the throw back to Hammerling for the out at the plate, or at the base. And he's quickly down in the count, 0-2. And a defensive swing on to Shaver, who will make the play over to Coleman Perry in time for out number 3. A 3-up, 3-down inning by the Sylvan Lake Gulls. Great defensive work there, and they will come to the plate at the bottom half of the 4th when we come back. You're watching Gulls baseball right here on FloCollege. Well, we've been talking about news, and here's some big news.
Great community of Sylvan Lake, Alberta for the 2027 All-Star Game.
Well, there you have it. Some news that the Sylvan Lake Gulls, we've been waiting for a while, and I know the fans have been as well. This league has been waiting. The Sylvan Lake Gulls will officially host the All-Star Game next year here in Sylvan Lake, Alberta, Canada. Can't wait to do it. It's going to be so much fun. July 12th and 13th are the set dates. Now, they don't say All-Star Weekend because it's in the middle of the week. It's a Monday and Tuesday. And they're doing it a little bit different this year with All-Star Game. They're going to be doing a Canada USA versus the National. And Canada's going to be obviously part of that National. So really cool to see that they're going to do it a little bit differently. And, you know, Sylvan Lake has a chance to now, you know, put themselves on the map and do a really good job with some great hosting of the WCBL All-Star.
Yeah, it's super exciting news. Not only for the Gulls, obviously, being able to host it, but the town of Sylvan Lake, too. That's a showcase event for them.
Yeah.
And this is a place that people love to come in summertime, obviously because of the lake, but the ballpark is definitely a good option as well. And it's going to be a really great game and festivity.
And this ball hit hard right to Jake Fowler, who makes the catch on Elijah Hamill for out number 1. So the bats just can't get going right now for the Sylvan Lake Gulls, and if the ball is swung on and hit, it's hit right to a Red Sox player. Hasn't been a lot of hits that have found the gaps, and if they find the gaps, well, yeah, they'll drop, but Regina's been really good at recovering and ending innings, keeping runners stranded at bay.
Yeah, they had their best shot at it in the second inning, bases loaded, but a double play ended it, and not quite what they were wanting, but they put themselves in a good situation, just unable to cash in and get back. At that point, that would have maybe tied the game right as the Red Sox try to get ahead.
John Boy Rittenhouse obviously leading this team with RBIs at 42, as we mentioned earlier, but hitting an average at 326. He's got 8 home runs. He's leading this team with homers, 46 hits in 141 at-bats. This kid can hit the ball, and he can hit it a long way. He can hit it when he needs to hit it into a little bit of an open area. That will drive in runs. He'll drive in runs any way he can, whether it's for himself or somebody else. 1-1 count with 1 away on Rittenhouse, and he swings around on it. Go down 1-2.
Yeah, he's a guy who can use the entire field. He'll go right down the line, left side, right side, doesn't matter. Go over the wall, find the gaps in left and center. Just a great all-around hitter.
Coleman Perry is on deck. Two and two, the count to John Boy Rittenhouse. Red Sox get up to a 2-0 lead in the second inning, and then just like that, they've held the Sylvan Lake Gulls to zip. 4 hits on the day, though, so far for Sylvan Lake. Now a full count to John Boy to try to get things going. He'll take a walk. He'll get on base any way he can here. Keep things going in the right direction. Try to give Sylvan Lake a little bit of momentum. And he takes that off speed for a walk.
Takes a page out of the Coleman Perry playbook there. Just have some patience. If they want to put you on base, let them do that. And that's the first walk that we've had all game, which is kind of showing how good the pitching has been.
So now Coleman Perry with a great opportunity, flew out to center field his last at bat. Jaden Flores on deck for Sylvan Lake. Perry watches that slow pitch go by for a called strike. Now I say slow, but it's faster than I could throw. Slow to them, maybe. It's wild how fast, or how much of a perspective, I guess, you get out of watching these guys pitch. Once you go down the field, the radar gun left on, and then you try to throw from the mound, and you turn around and you see that number a lot lower than these guys are throwing.
Yeah, and it's effortless for them.
Oh.
Like, we'd be throwing our shoulder out of its socket trying to reach those slow pitches.
Oh, I was throwing as hard as I could to our producer's son, Calvin's son, Blake, and yeah, it was hitting 63 at most. This ball hit well to deep left field back to the track, and catching on that is Jalen Myers for the second out. So Flores back to the plate to keep this inning alive. It's going to rest in his hands here. Barry's been hitting the ball well, like getting good contact, just popping it up a little too high. That stays in play for a catchable out.
Yeah, the wind wasn't quite helping him out on that one. You could see you kind of moving in the outfield as the left fielder and Jalen Myers is kind of moving a bit, but just gets to the warning track and kind of dies there.
So Flores with that chance there in the second inning that ended up turning into a double play. He was on base. He had a base hit, but he was caught up in the first half of that double play that ended the inning back in the second. And Flores takes a 4-pitch walk to now advance John Boyrinos in a scoring position.
Yeah, a couple walks in this inning, and that one being a 4-pitch one. A kind of a not what you're expecting out of the Red Sox starter in Hahn, and maybe he's starting to kind of run out of gas a little bit. So we'll have a little mound visit, see if he can kind of catch his breath, sort things out. The good thing in his favor is he's got 2 outs on the board.
Yeah, he does. And, you know, he's got the pitch count starting to get a little up there. It's still not that bad. 63 pitches so far on the night for him. And you take a look at the bullpen, there's no action going on. So they're obviously going to give him a little bit of breathing room here to try to get out of this inning. And who knows, maybe come back for at least another inning after that, if he can end this one strong. So Eli Duncan now is at the plate with 2 away. Red Sox up 2-0. Duncan hit it on the ground hard right to Chance Deskelchuk, his last at bat. That turned into a double play with the bases loaded. And he takes that one in for a ball. So that's 5 straight balls now thrown by this pitcher.
Yeah, Gulls having a little bit of patience right now. Just kind of wait for that strike to come into the zone.
And you're going to get to a point of the game, too, to see the depth of the bullpen. You know,
Yeah.
to see, okay, what guys are going to be able to keep the pitching up for the Regina Red Sox and what guys are going to keep the pitching up for the Sylvan Lake Gulls. I was kind of alluding to it earlier, but then I got cut off by a hit. Sylvan Lake's closers and relievers, that's one thing I think that they probably could use a few more guys. But at the end of the day, you know, they still got some solid guys like Braden Stewart. They're also changing Kai Rempel into being a reliever. And then, of course, you bring in Kyle Freilich back to the Gulls lineup from year 1, and he's a guy that comes in and closes out games. So you could tell they're always making moves. And this is the biggest year that the Sylvan Lake Gulls, I feel like, have made moves. Whether they meant to or not meant to, you know, some of it is obviously beyond their control with guys going pro in Gavin Roy and guys getting hurt like Brock Tiarina and Cooper Sozelski. You know, they've gone through a lot of changes this year. And there's another walk by Eli Duncan. So a 2-out rally walk-in clinic going on here at Gulls Field. Loads the bases for Maddox Shaver. This could be interesting.
Yeah, all of a sudden you kind of got a bit of a 2-out rally going on here, and it's mostly thanks to the walk. Everyone on base has been just by their patience.
And Shaver lifts this in the air, pop fly, that will be caught. Oh, it's dropped! Oh my! What an unfortunate error by Jalen Myers. This game's tied.
That was such a routine pop fly, was hit 2 miles into the air, but apparently that was just too high, and it kind of went off the side of the glove there for the left fielder, Jalen Myers, and that scores 2 runs for the Gulls. That changes the momentum of this game. That's a turning point right there.
That
You go from being
is-
down 2-0, all of a sudden this game's tied. Maybe you can jump out to a lead.
That is unheard of. This is not what you see in this league with a pop fly ball like that being dropped. I mean, you got to wonder, that smoke in the air could be playing a factor. You know,
It could be.
It blends in with that ball a little bit. And, I mean, it's not a very breezy day here at Gulls Field either. We see that sometimes where if there's a strong breeze, that can play a lot of mind games with the fielders. But that just is an unfortunate error for the Regina Red Sox and a lucky break by the Sylvan Lake Gulls, because it looked like the Gulls were going to do what they did again and have a bases loaded situation and strand a bunch of runners on, and they get lucky. And luckily with two away, you kind of run on everything, and they kept running. They ended up scoring 2 runs in just like that.
Yeah, we kind of both had to pick up our jaws off the floor. It's such a strange play, one that we weren't obviously expecting because it's such a routine play to make for the Red Sox, but that's one slight error, and that's changes the complexion of this game.
Dom Giusti down 0-1 right now with 2 away. Runners at third and second. Gulls looking to now just take what this, well, I don't want to say gift, but in a way a gift that the Red Sox have given them and run with it. Kind of just do some damage here, and they could take the first lead of the ball game. And it was quickly, 2 outs again in this inning, and then next thing you know, some walks get the Red Sox in trouble. And now Sylvan Lake piling it on here.
And it seemed like such a nothing play. Like you see it go off the bat and you go, oh, well, that's an unfortunate way to end the inning, and then it doesn't get ended. It was just you're definitely counting your lucky stars for the Gulls here that you keep the at-bats going, looking to cash in it yet again.
I mean, Myers did have to run in a decent amount to get to that ball. So he didn't have a lot of time to think about it as this ball is hit right on the ground. And wow, there's another unfortunate error by the Red Sox, because with 2 down, they could have had Chance Desikalchuk just touch his bag, and it would have been, or it wouldn't have been a forced out. He would have had to tag the runner, but the runner was right there. And instead, he makes the throw, decides to elect to throw over to first, and it's not in time as Dom Giusti beats out the throw. So another run comes in to score, and the Gulls have the lead.
This is some strange things happening right now. Just the way that play was, okay, they get the out at third, and then you go, that wasn't a force. They got to get the out at first, and, whoa, they didn't.
Well, and I don't think he was obviously paying attention, but Matt Shaver was coming to third, and now Dom Giusti's going to go to second, and he gets tagged out. If he just...
He was trying to buy those couple seconds there.
Yeah, he was. And if he ran a little bit more time, Maddox Shaver would have came in for another scored run. But the Gulls do take the lead on a wild series of events here in the 4th inning. They now lead it 3-2 over the Red Sox heading to the 5th. We'll be back. Beautiful day here at Gulls Field. 3 strikeouts on the fence, and the Gulls now up 3-2 over the Regina Red Sox. Well, we're talking about changes for the Sylvan Lake Gulls, and Gavin Roy has now officially inked a deal to play baseball professionally in Quebec. The Sudbury, Ontario kid, 22 years old, was our first team WCBL All-Star with the Sylvan Lake Gulls in 2024. and he now signs in the Frontier League in Quebec, which is a Major League Baseball partner league. So some great things ahead for Mr. Gavin Roy, and he follows in the footsteps of former Gull Jonah Weisner as well, who also signed at one point in the Frontier League as well. So good things to see. More WCBLers signing pro in this league. Good to see.
Yeah, as sad as it is that Roy's moving on from the Gulls, that's the whole point of this league. Development, move guys to the next level, and that's the next level. We've seen a few guys sign in that Frontier League as well. Lethbridge Bulls had a big one, and Clarehout signing, I believe, with Ottawa. So
yeah,
any of these top guys, if they're having a good season and they're getting up there in age, they're moving on.
And this ball hit right to Clary Simpson. A veteran himself will make the throw in time over to Coleman Perry. A nice little hopper to Simpson, making the throw in time. Let's take a look. Yeah, two hopper. Simpson collects it well and cleanly over to Perry for out number one. So that'll go right to the top of the batting order now, I believe, as this is Jalen Myers back at the dish. Sorry, is this a pinch hitter? This is. It's number 17 that we have at the plate coming in. Ty Martinez now will come in for Jalen Myers, I guess. So I'm not sure if something happened to Myers or if he's getting moved around maybe defensively, but this is a pinch hitter, first substitution of the night. So Ty Martinez in. I just noticed. He's down 1-2, now even 2-2 with that pitch. But yeah, Roy obviously said it was a great opportunity to play at the professional level, so it was a decision he was really excited to make, but he was sad to leave Sylvan Lake at the same time. And a strikeout there by Hammerling for out number 2.
Yeah, Hammerling's been ramping things up as this game has gone on. I wouldn't say he struggled, but he had a couple strikeouts, had a couple hits in that first inning, and then the runs come in the second, and then he tightens things up in the third, and then he gets the 3 up, 3 down fourth, and we're looking at that again. He's got back-to-back innings with strikeouts.
And ball hit softly on the ground to Flores, who will scoop it up, make the nice throw, and in time for out number 3. So a very efficient and quick inning of work for Mr. Reese Hemmerling and the Sylvan Lake Gulls. It's another 3 up, 3 down inning. We'll come to the bottom of the 5th next. Sylvan Lake Gulls head into this inning with their first lead of the ball game, 3-2 over the Regina Red Sox. Kind of a weird game this has turned into here in the halfway point of the ball game. I mean, looked like Regina was just controlling this game, had things under control. Sylvan Lake couldn't get anything going on with the bats. inning should have ended, and then a error that costs the Red Sox in a huge way that completely shifted the tides of this ball game.
Yeah, everything was just weird that inning. 3 walks. Some of them were no strikes thrown, so that's just different for the pitcher because he's wheeling and dealing tonight. And then, like you said, with 2 outs, things got really weird because a drop fly ball keeps the game alive. 2 runs come in off of that, and then another weird play at third base to score 1 more run, and they almost score another with a double steal, but didn't quite pull it off in time.
So Chris Hahn might be in his last inning of work if he can get through this whole inning, that is, for maybe getting the hook in this game, because they got some warm-ups going on in the bullpen for the Regina Red Sox. Obviously, things are speeding up quickly over there. Sylvan Lake might be, well, no, they're just tossing the pigskin, actually. I lied. So they're having fun in the bullpen of the Gulls side of things. But, yeah, you see some pitchers starting to get loose, and that's number 25, and there's a foul ball. Clary Simpson just staying alive with a defensive swing. But looking like number 25 is getting loose for the Red Sox. And I don't know. Oh, yeah, Vittorio Ikobuchi from Vancouver is getting loose. 1-2 to Clary Simpson. And he comes over top of it right to Jake Fowler. It goes, and it'll be a throw to Brady By in time for out number 1. So Simpson had that double back in the 3rd. Grounds this one out for out number 1.
Yeah, it was almost a rally opportunity that Simpson was looking for in that 3rd inning, and you almost wonder if that's kind of what led into the Gulls having a little success. Is that's kind of when the wheels came off with the pitching. Lots of balls being thrown from that point on.
Collins tips that right off the catcher's mask and knocks it right off his face. So they're going to just give him some time to reset here, as that probably rattled him a little bit. I'm sure that would have made his ears ring a little more. So the hits are even, 5 and 5 for both sides. And that ball fouled over the head as well. 0-2 to Collins, Melbourne, Australia. Elijah Hamill on deck. So we get close to that meat of the order again. And this goes right up the middle for a base hit in Charlie Collins.
Yeah, good job for Charlie Collins to take advantage of it. The middle of the infield is kind of being open, and especially for him and his at-bats. And he finally, you just got to get it by the pitcher, and if it has some good pace on the ball, it's going to get through, and that time he did. And a good hit there, looking to keep things going for Elijah Hamill now.
We saw Hamill drive in Maddox Shaver in the All-Star game last weekend in Saskatoon. Yeah, Sylvan Lake Gulls obviously coming off, a little bit of, some breaks as of late. Yeah, there were some makeup games on those dates in the last week and a half, 2 weeks, but they had some days off. Now it's going to be kind of crunch time here as we get near the end of the season. 13 games in the next couple of weeks. That's a lot of baseball.
And 2 of those games are what was scheduled to be an off night, because they're 2 rescheduled ones, one for the afternoon, one for the evening. So, and 2 different teams. As on your screen, you can see the schedule. We got the Saskatoon Berries in town for the remainder of the weekend, and then that doubleheader Lethbridge Brooks on Tuesday.
Yeah, absolutely.
Some good old day baseball.
It's a lot of baseball going to be held here at Gulls Field over the course of the next 2 weeks. Yeah, they only get 1 day off, technically.
Monday.
And that's Monday until the end of the regular season.
Yeah, and then they get 1 game break on Thursday, headed right into playoffs.
Yeah, so it is crunch time and busy for Sylvan Lake. And Charlie Collins going to second, and it's going to be a stand-up steal. Don't see those very often.
No, and I didn't expect him to stand up. I thought it was close enough that he'd slide in, but no, it's not. But the Red Sox are kind of contesting something as the catcher was pointing, but not quite sure what. But Charlie Collins is on second base currently.
And Braden Cobb, the head coach, coming over to chat with the home plate umpire, Chris Hartley, who I feel bad. We have not actually introduced our umpires tonight. Chris Hartley is at home plate. We got Rob Allen, who's the crew chief, over at first. And then, of course, who's at third, Scotty?
You're my Peter Wall.
You're my Peter Wall. There you go. Great to see these guys in action here at Gulls Field. Some very high veteran umpires here at Gulls Field for this big game. And Hamill sends this high in the sky fly ball, getting caught up in the air, though, with that smoke. Will be caught at center field, but it will advance. Charlie Collins, who decides to dive on a play that maybe he didn't even have to dive on, now over at third.
Yeah, that time he does the feet first slide to get in safely there, but good job for Hamill. Good connection there off the back, gets it over towards the right part of center field, and that's just deep enough to get Charlie Collins over to third base. And let's see if John Boy Rittenhouse can fire up the grill here.
Yeah, exactly. This is a prime time for John Boy Rittenhouse with the runner closest to home that he can get to drive in a run. It literally will just take anything in a gap to drive in yet another run with 2 down. Gulls up 3-2, looking to add to that lead with the leading RBI scorer for the Gulls at the plate. Rittenhouse 1 for 1 on the day. He's gotten on base 2 times. Came around to score himself as well back in the 4th. And he hits it up the middle on the ground. It's going to be playable, and it will be a nice play by Lance Anderson on the run to make it out number 3 and avoid the Gulls adding any runs on the scoreboard. Heading to 6, 3-2, Gulls lead it right here on FloCollege. Well, how about a start for this guy, Reese Hemmerling, still on the mound, and like we were talking about, it's been a pitcher's duel. Hemmerling, obviously, there was a couple runs scored and some hits hit on him quickly early on in this game, but he has really just kind of been pretty even Steven since then, hasn't he?
Yeah.
Ball hit well here, though, as Brady Bye leads things off, and that goes right in the glove of Dom Giusti. And sorry, that was not Brady Bye, that was Daniel Castellanos. Brady Bye is on deck.
What I was going to say before I saw this one's got a chance to be a decent play out to center field for Dom Giusti was that as the game's gone on, Hemmerling has looked really good. He's had a couple 3-up, 3-down innings. He's at 59 pitches through 5 innings. That efficiency has really picked up as the game has gone by. And at this point, why turn away from him when he's doing what he's doing?
Absolutely. I mean, like you said, pitches were kind of getting high early on in this ball game. Red Sox were aggressive with the bats, obviously putting some good contact on the ball, just like that one. Brady By just sent this over the wall and out of the park. This game is tied. Well, I guess we spoke too soon, Scott, as Brady By has been nothing but perfect tonight. He's the guy that has not slowed down for this Regina Red Sox, and he continues to have himself a season.
Yeah, he's brought some life to this Red Sox team here, as right off the bat you knew that one was gone. Just hammered out to right field and takes a little bit of the breath away from this Gulls fans, but Hammerling looking to get right back to it. First pitch is a strike.
Yeah, that's something you got to do as a pitcher. Shake it off.
And you had a pretty close call to the batter before.
Yeah.
With Castellanos going basically to the warning track.
Yeah, Brady By is definitely their strongest batter and hitter in that lineup right now, and he is always going to be oh so dangerous anytime he comes up to the plate.
And you're probably happy that that was just a solo shot and no one else was there to deal some extra damage.
Exactly. So Brady By continues to lead the team in RBIs as he gets another one added to it, and this ball hit pretty good as well. Left center field going all the way back, and it's going to find the gap. It's going to be a stand-up double for Rain Kreklowitz. So Red Sox, and we talked about how Hammerling has kind of, gotten better and better as this game has gone on, has kind of silenced these bats in the Red Sox lineup, but now that Red Sox lineup is starting to find the bats again.
Yeah, you're kind of to that magic number that you see in the MLB. It's the third time through the lineup. That's where you kind of start to see things change for the starting pitcher, especially the fourth time through the lineup. We're not quite there yet, just the third time. We're halfway through the order. But that ball was just tailing and tailing all the way to the outfield. It wasn't great for Dom Giusti as that one was going away from him.
That was a really well-contacted ball, and now the Red Sox trying to play small ball here with the bunt being squared foul. And we got a look in the bullpen just moments ago while you're talking there. Scott and Seth Mahler getting loose in the bullpen. There he is. Might be coming into this game quickly, and he's one of those relievers that the Gulls turn to on a frequent basis. Him, Braden Stewart, Kai Rempel, probably now Kyle Fralick at some point. And then he also got, I think the one guy that they really like to turn to also is Ryan Kusi or Trent Chavez to close games out as well. So they got a number of closers, but I feel like there's still, when you go into the playoffs, I feel like there's still maybe another closer or two that could be added to this team that could really solidify the pitching staff.
And not quite the machine that the Okotoks Dogs bullpen is.
Exactly.
Where you see a new arm every inning, whether they're playing well or not. The Gulls kind of will ride the wave with guys. If they kind of squeak through, okay, maybe that's your one inning. But if they're rolling, they're not afraid to go 2, sometimes even 3 innings with their relievers.
Yeah, absolutely. And that's the thing, is when playoffs come along, you're gonna need, to hope that your relievers are going to do the job. Because if they aren't, then you are throwing a bunch of arms in, and it's a quick turnaround. You got to, use those guys again in a short time of events. This ball is in foul territory. Coleman Perry just couldn't come away with it. So Red Sox stay alive with just one away in Alex Rowe.
Yeah, there's 3 goals that we're trying to converge on now, and just gets by Coleman Perry. Charlie Collins was also on the scene there, but unable to get there or make a catch between Collins and Perry. But good effort there. That's a long ways out there.
Yeah, and that's the thing with Sylvan Lake. We talk about it. They have a very big foul territory here at this ballpark. There's a lot of room over there for that ball to stay in play. And you know what? I think Reese Emmerling just said, I'll take care of business. I'll strike out another batter. Why not? That's the 5th one. He is sat down now, and they're all swinging strikes.
I'm sure he was looking for the opportunity to get completely out of this inning, but it's not shaping up like he's going to get that chance. Maybe he will, but we'll see with this mound visit.
very often you see a mound visit after a strikeout. Maybe, again, it's just to maybe buy some time for that bullpen to get loose and get warm. But I thought maybe ending on the strikeout, that was going to be maybe the end of his night. They're going to end on a good note for Reese Hemmerling. But instead, Matt Haight comes out after a strikeout and wants to just maybe make sure that Hemmerling isn't giving these guys anything easy to swing on with a guy over in scoring position at second.
Yeah, it could just be as easily as he's buying time for Mahler. He might have just said, hey, this is your last guy. Let's get him.
And I'm looking at Mahler, and he's not throwing anymore. He's actually stretching his arm out. Looks like he'll be ready probably at any point, taking a sip of water now. So I'm thinking he's ready to go. It's now just a matter of let's see if Hammerling can get out of this inning.
Let's see what you got, kid. See if you can get out of this.
1 for 2 is what Chance Deskelchuk is at so far today. And he pops this foul just right behind our producer's trailer, which I believe got hit earlier on today. The foul ball already has hit that trailer, making a little noise for the guys in the trailer. The Red Sox now with one more hit than the Sylvan Lake Gulls in this ball game. It's been a close game.
Mm-hmm. It's turning into a bit of a back and forth game too.
Yeah. Saw a lot of that in the WCBL final last year. Especially in game 3. Red Sox, kind of like tonight. They went up by 3, not 2. They went up 3-0. Gulls would then tie it. Gulls would then take the lead. Red Sox would come back. They would tie it. They would take the lead. It was a back and forth affair right to the bitter end. And this ball is hit well. Left field going all the way back to the wall, and it's over. The Red Sox have just regained the lead with that 2-run shot thanks to Chance Deskelchuk.
Yeah, we've kind of seen it all inning. That ball has just been hovering in the outfield, carrying farther and farther than it seems like it should. Rittenhouse turned around a few times to see where he is in relation to the wall, the track, where the ball is, and it just ends up going over the fence. And this is a big inning for the Red Sox. A couple home runs in it, and now they're out to a lead.
Now the 2-out rally continues for Regina. That'll bring up Rena Reese, the DH. As the Red Sox have been able to kind of figure out Reese Hemmerling a little bit more in the 6th inning. And this ball hit pretty good to right center field. It will be playable, though, for Charlie Collins, and he'll make the catch to bring this inning to a close. But the Red Sox put 3 up on the board in this inning to regain the lead, and they go up by a pair. They're leading 5-3 as we head in to the bottom of the 6th when we come back. Well, this looks like it's still going to be Chris Hahn on the mound for the Regina Red Sox. A little bit of a surprise. As, for a while there, especially in the 4th inning, ran into a little bit of issues, thought maybe he was going to be near the end of his line, and instead they throw him back in for another inning of work here. Bottom of the 6th now, Gulls down by 2, needing to get back into this game to tie things up. Coleman Perry will lead things off. Jaden Flores, Eli Duncan, the scheduled batters. Perry 0 for 2 on the day. He's hit the ball, just gets caught up in the air. He's had 2 flyouts to the outfield.
I will admit, I'm a little bit surprised that Hans back out there for another inning.
Yeah.
He's at 90 pitches and starting to tail off a little bit. He did have a pretty solid bounce back 5th inning there, so maybe that's part of the reason here. Maybe it's, hey, let's see if you can buy us 1-2 more outs here. See what the first batter does.
And Perry hits it off the fist to right field. That will land for a base hit. It was an inside up high pitch, and it goes right off the fist. That will land in for a base hit, and I think we just saw exactly and got our answer what we were thinking. Is Hahn sees the batter, depending on how he would do, would depend on Hahn's, take in this inning, and it looks like that'll be the night for the starter in Chris Hahn. So Regina will go to the bullpen for the first time tonight, and as they do, we will step aside. We'll be back with more Gulls baseball right here on FloCollege. Well, here's the new pitcher. It is going to be number 25, Vittorio Iacobucci. And he'll start things off with Jaden Flores as Coleman Perry over at first after getting a base hit on the starter, Chris Hahn. But Vittorio Iacobucci will try to shut the door in relief for the Regina Red Sox. And Jaden Flores, who is 1 for 1 on the afternoon or the evening, try to keep things going in the right direction for Sylvan Lake.
Chris Hahn had a pretty good game, going 5+ innings, 23 batters faced, 1 strikeout, 3 walks, 7 hits, 3 runs.
Yeah, like he didn't have the putouts that Reese Hemmerling did, but he was getting some good pitches in there, and it was a lot of pop flies, ground outs that his fielding helped him out in a big way.
Yeah, had 92 pitches on the evening as well, so that's kind of part of the reason why now is the time for him to go. But yeah, pretty solid night for him. He's walking away with the lead.
And that pitch up high and inside, that'll catch the zone. 2-2 to Flores. On deck, Eli Duncan. And that's a good take by Flores. Close. That he, I don't know if he was even sure about it.
Yeah, Castellanos did a good job trying to frame that one for a strike, but just didn't quite get the call there.
Flores sends this high in the air, pop fly ball, right field, going towards the foul line, and it is a nice catch right at the line by Alex Rowe. That ball just kept drifting and drifting and drifting away from him, and he got on underneath of it, and it'd be interesting to see where that ball lands, if that would be fair or not, but great play, regardless, by Alex Rowe for out number one.
We've seen the ball do some different things in the outfield, carrying. That one was going a different direction than we've seen. Everything has kind of been headed to that left center field spot, and this one was kind of coming more right field. Just wind's almost swirling a little bit in the outfield.
Yeah, the breeze has definitely picked up as the evening has gone on. When we started this ball game, it was dead calm and very hot. You couldn't even, feel a breath of air. And now the breeze has picked up, and that's definitely maybe creating some issues in the outfield for anybody fielding.
And you kind of get that nighttime breeze for those of us that don't live with AC, the cool off the place at night.
Yeah, keep the windows open. That has been the strategy at the Cale Clark household in the last 2-3 weeks. It's been nighttime, okay, windows open. Morning, okay, windows closed, because you don't want to let that hot air in.
The downside is the smoke comes in now.
And then the smoke, yeah. And so that is the downfall at nighttime. It does kind of make your house smell like smoke a little bit. But I'll take that. I'll take that in a little bit of cooler feel in the house than hot and not smoky. So Eli Duncan 2-1. It has been a game, ladies and gentlemen. If you're just tuning in now, great to have you watching in on Gulls Baseball FloCollege, brought to you by Visit Sylvan Lake. Scott Stimson, Cale Clark, we're here with you, and we got lots to talk about at the end of this one. I mean, it was a great start for the Red Sox, and they kind of held the Gulls at bay, and then all of a sudden the wheels fell off defensively for Regina, let the Gulls back in it. The Gulls would then take the lead 3-2 before the Red Sox respond in a big way in the top half of this inning, putting up 3 more spots of themselves, going back up 5-3 in this ball game. And a swing and a miss there by Eli Duncan brings the count to full.
You never know what you're going to see at the ballpark, and it seems like these last few weeks here in Sylvan Lake, we've seen something different every night that you don't really see before.
Seen some walk-offs. We've seen a controlled game against the Okotoks Dogs. We've seen a lot. And there's a walk to Eli Duncan. Great patience, great take. Runners at first and second with Maddox Shaver stepping up to the plate.
Yeah, and speaking of some of the stuff that you don't see, he's the guy who had 2 runs batted in off of an air to left field. That was a pop-up a mile high, and it just goes glancing off the side of the glove. And that's what changed the game.
Yeah. So rounding out the batting order, Maddox Shaver had a hot start with the Sylvan Lake Gulls team when he came in, and he takes a hot ball right off the arm. Ouch. And you know what? That ricocheted, and it ended up hurting the catcher, and Daniel Castellanos. He's struggling to get up. Look at where this ball goes. It goes right off the arm, and then right off. Was that off the bare hand or off the leg?
It looked like it might have been off the toe there. It kind of bounced forward. And
that was so fast that it was hard to see where that ball ended up ricocheting to, but Castellanos now shaking it off. And so now, for the third time tonight, let's take a look again here. Boom. And off the ankle.
Yeah, that's a tough one.
Ouch. Right off the inside of his ankle. I couldn't tell if it hit his hand or if it got past his hand, but it hit the inside of Castellano's ankle, and he looks like he'll be okay as he's fighting that pain off. And for the third time tonight, Scott, bases loaded for the Sylvan Lake Gulls.
Yeah, the first time we saw a double play, and the last time we saw the 2 RBI error. And then who knows what we're going to see here. Top of the order, Dom Giusti.
The Juice Man looking to give the Gulls some life here back in this game. Down by 2, trying to get things back to even terms. With 1 away, bases loaded. Grade A situation here for the Gulls. You just can't hit it on the ground. Because that did not work out well for them back in the second inning.
No, it did not. Just got to find something over ahead of somebody, whether it's the infield, the outfield.
And a big cut there by Giusti, wanting that one. Turning all the way around on it. The Elk Grove, California kid was looking to send that one to California. Now 1-2. Good pitch there, catching the corner by Vittorio Icobucci. Icobucci from Vancouver, British Columbia. With the 1-2 count. Giusti hits it softly, and it's going to be caught. For a little bit there, it looked like maybe, just maybe, that was going to drop in behind the infield, but a great job there by Jake Fowler to run back underneath that ball and make the catch, and that keeps everybody at bay with bases loaded situation.
Yeah, that looked like a bloop single sort of play, but no, it wasn't. Jake Fowler, like you said, great job to just get over there in time and record the out. That's a big out there.
That'll bring up Clutch Cleary Simpson to the plate. Now Simpson, 1 for 3. Here is a huge opportunity for the veteran from Elnor, Alberta. And that goes inside. And you could kind of see Castellanos trying to play a little bit of games. I mean, he's stopping the ball, but he just takes a little extra time acting like he doesn't know where the ball is to maybe try to catch the runners off guard. Not fooling anybody, though. One and 0 to Simpson. And that one paints the outside. Away, 1-1. The umpires in the crowd didn't like it.
Yeah, fans are definitely disagreeing on that call there.
Chris Hartley, one of the best you can get in the game behind the plate. And that gets into the turf and hopped, and you can just see Castellanos. It gets away from him, and he's just not in any, when he knows how close it is to him, he almost kind of baits the runners a little bit, like, test me. And, of course, the runner's not taking any chances with Coleman Perry over at third. And Perry, he's got wheels on him.
Yes, he
but
does.
He's not going to be the guy to probably test him out too much either. 2-1 now to Simpson. Bases loaded. Gulls down 5-3. That's up high and outside of the zone for a third ball. Now it gets interesting. You take a walk, you score a run. Charlie Collins on deck. 45 for the Sox. Garrett Mullins warming up in the bullpen right now. 3-1 count. And it is a strike to bring it to full. Simpson thought he had him. let's take a look at the replay here. Oh. And yeah, that's a good call. That's close.
I think that was similar to that first called strike as well. It looked like a similar part of the plate there.
Great pitch there by Castellanos, or Iacobucci. Full count, runners on, and it's inside for a walk. Run will come in to score. Good at bat by Cleary Simpson. He was the leadoff hitter for the Sylvan Lake Gulls in the first couple of seasons, and there's a reason why. Because he had the patience, he could get on base, and he would take whatever he could to reach base.
And there's a couple pitches there that he took that it can rattle a guy. It's one that you think that you should have walked already, but clearly he knows what his strike zone is, and that didn't rattle his cage at all. Didn't have to swing at it. He knew, okay, this one's going to walk me in.
Charlie Collins pops it up, but that will be out of play. 0-1. Clary Simpson has had a pretty good night in his return back to Sylvan Lake.
Yes.
I mean, he's gone 1 for 3. He's got an RBI and a double. Like, pretty good numbers that he has put up here in his debut back at home.
Not to mention defensively, he's been pretty good at third base.
Oh, yeah, absolutely. Guy's got a great arm, great glove. He can play anywhere, too. He's one of those kids that can kind of, he's like a Swiss Army knife, that kid. He's got a good glove on him. He likes to play anywhere in the infield. He can play second. He can play third. He can play short. And he can play first.
That sounds like all the other infielders on this Gulls team.
Pretty much. Yeah, the only guy I think that maybe we wouldn't see move from anywhere would be Coleman Perry.
Yes.
He's pretty solidified over at first.
But you look at Flores, he can play short, he can play third. You look at Shaver, he can fill in at third. And Rittenhouse can play third as well.
Yes.
So there's lots of options there.
Yeah, absolutely. And I think Rittenhouse may have tried playing shortstop at one point this year. I might be wrong, but yeah. I mean, he's also can fill in anywhere he's needed. 1-2 to Collins. Base is loaded. And he takes that one for a ball. 2-2. And I'm thinking the leash getting shorter and shorter for Iacobucci on the mound, who's come in this inning in relief for Chris Hahn. So it's been a long inning for both sides. 5-4 ball game. Gulls looking to tie it up. 2-2 the count, and that goes right off of Charlie Collins' helmet. And it's going to be another run. This game's tied. Wow, that was a little dangerous. Collins took it, though, and he's going to reach base now, making this game a tie game.
Yeah, that one was coming high and very inside, obviously, as we take a look at the replay.
Oh, no, that hit his arm.
Just off the arm, but still, it's getting close to that chin music level, as that's going to end the night for Iacobucci.
Do apologize. In real time, it looked like it was a little high. It looked like it might have clipped the helmet, but luckily that did hit the arm, and that will do it for Iacobucci. So a new pitcher in, and we will step aside, let him warm up. We'll get loose, and we'll be back with more Gulls baseball here in the bottom half of the sixth. there's the new pitcher coming in relief for Vittorio Iacobucci. Garrett Mullen coming in for the Red Sox in relief here in this inning, where from Perry, Florida, goes to Point University, and he'll look to get out of this jam that the Regina Red Sox have found themselves in with bases loaded situation. Now, a lot of these runs that have been scored have been kind of due to the Red Sox doing it themselves. Hit batsmen and walks and everything like that. Pop flies that were dropped. And Elijah Hamill takes that first one for a strike. Well, it's been a tough inning, but it's also been a really tough game for their catcher and Daniel Castellanos. Look at this. How many balls is this guy going to wear tonight? He has had a tough go.
I think that was almost entirely this inning as well.
Yeah, exactly. It's been a tough inning for him. Hamill lifts this up the middle, and that is going to drive in 1 run and now 2. Gulls back on top.
And that's the moment that we've been waiting for tonight. Elijah Hamill. We've kind of talked about it earlier in the game, a guy that they're going to turn some runs in. And as the DH, that's your job, to hit a ball. And he gets 2 runs batted in with that single out to center field. So he did his job there to keep this inning alive. And guess what? Gulls lead.
Wow, what an inning. 4 spot here in the bottom half of the 6th. They respond in a huge way. Red Sox put up 3, and then Gulls like, all right, we'll just come back. We'll put up 4. And it's been a 2-out rally for quite some time, too. So John Boy Rittenhouse at the plate. Runner in scoring position. It's Charlie Collins at second. A great 2 RBI single by Elijah Hamill, though. I mean, like, up until that point, the Gulls are really batting in runs. It was a lot of just more errors, walks, you know, things like that that were scoring the runs for the Gulls. That one, they finally kind of take advantage.
And to your point, all 4 runs have been with 2 outs now.
Exactly, yeah.
And it's been, not that that's what's changed it, but they've been building towards that. They got a guy on with a single, Perry, and then they get an out. They get 2 more on with a walk and a hit by pitch, and then it's 2 outs, and then another walk, another hit by pitch, and then now a single.
Yeah, this has been a wild game. It's one of those games that is not the typical drawn-up game.
No.
On how things play out with runs being scored, and you got the hits, but the hits haven't really necessarily been the ones driving in the runs. And this is popped straight up in the air, and this should be playable. We've seen it before, and it's dropping in fair. Hamill coming home, and he's going to be tagged. But the 1 run will come in to score and count, making it an 8-5 game as Hamill gets caught with lots of time at the plate. But another error that should have been playable by Regina, and Sylvan Lake makes them pay for it. We'll be back. The crowd continues to buzz here at Gulls Field as the Sylvan Lake Gulls regain the lead, now up 8-5 in a wild game here against the Regina Red Sox. But it was a wild week in baseball as a whole, because while the All-Star game was taking place in Saskatoon this past weekend, so was the road to Okotoks. So the Okotoks Dogs decide, well, let's host the Morneau Cup, the first ever inaugural Morneau Cup at Siemens Stadium. And the Gulls prep team made their way into the road to Okotoks, and sure enough, they go all the way to the final against, guess who? The Okotoks Dogs prep team Black. And they end up losing, obviously, in the finals to Okotoks Dogs Black prep team, but did really good in that road to Okotoks. And, that is out of 16 teams, the prep team, who is, so fresh and early on in their stages of being a baseball development team. And this is a base hit that Flores kind of juggles a little bit over at shortstop, couldn't quite handle it. Will land for a base hit, maybe a little bit of an error as he juggles it, and not the throw in time. So we'll get back to what we're talking about here, but that was they're going to credit that a base hit for Lance Anderson, I believe, here in house. But yes, talk about a, crazy turn of events for, the Gulls prep team to go to the road to Okotoks and finish the way they did against, all the top teams across this country at a baseball level of 18-year-old kids across Canada.
Yeah, it's a pretty impressive feat. And these are the guys who are going to be the Gulls in the next couple of years, or some of them anyways. And it just goes to show the kind of program that the Gulls are building here from the ground up, and it's a great look for the organization.
So Ty Martinez back at the dish for his second at-bat of the evening. He came in to pinch hit for Jalen Myers and fill in for Jalen Myers, I would think, out in left field. Now, I haven't really noticed the decisions and the changes in the outfield for the Red Sox. That's something we'll have to maybe keep our eye on heading into the next inning here, as the run is on over at second, and they get there in time with a stolen base as Lance Anderson with a successful steal. And that's what you're going to have to do if you're Regina here in kind of the late stages of the ball game, 7th inning.
Tricky play for Duncan to make there, throwing from his knees, but considering that, that's a heck of a play there to be that close to trying to catch him running.
So 2-2 count to Martinez, and Hemmerling still in this ball game. And like we saw with Red Sox in Chris Hahn, a little surprised that Hemmerling's still in this game. Now pitches at 83. Seth Mahler was getting loose for a while. I don't know if he still is, if he's now maybe done getting hot in the bullpen, because it doesn't look like it is him anymore. It looks like Braden Stewart's getting hot now.
I wonder if that last bottom half of the inning kind of changed it. Like, oh, we got a lead. If you want it, you can go back out, get a couple more outs, maybe even get an inning.
2-2 still, and that one brings the count to full. 3-2 count. Scoreboard showing a little bit differently here in house. As on the scoreboard on the outfield, it's showing it's 3-3. It's a little bit of an error there on the board, but it is 3-2, full count, and that is a walk. So that might be, are we going to do a pitching change now? I would not be surprised, but Matt Hape not showing any sign here. Interesting. You've seen the warning signs. You saw that the Red Sox kind of got into some warning signs themselves in the last inning that kind of paid the price against them. You don't want to overstretch your luck with Reese Hemmerling, as he's had a great night, but it's definitely starting to show the fatigue right now.
Yeah, he's kind of struggling with the strike zone now, kind of going in and out of it a little bit. But at the same time, you get a ground ball, and that's making your inning look a lot different.
Now here's a stat. Crazy to think this has happened. That was only his first walk of the night.
That's impressive.
For Reese Hemmerling. It took 85 pitches to walk his first batter of the evening. So good for him. He's been hitting the zone. He hasn't been giving up any free bases until just now. And he comes in with a 1-2 pitch. So, yeah, maybe don't underestimate this kid. He's still showing some gas in the tank. Jake Fowler.
Seems like a grinded out kind of guy and just keep battling away.
Well, you got to wonder if they asked him, do you want to go back? And he's maybe convinced the coaching staff he's still good. It's not done yet. 2-2 to Fowler, who's 0 for 3 on the night. Runners at first and second. Red Sox pressuring yet again to get back into this ball game, and there is a full count.
I do wonder if basically he gets up to Brady by. I wonder if that's his finish line.
Yeah.
Because he's a guy who's had his number. And ideally, if you can get to 2 outs to that point or even out of the inning.
I'm thinking if this is a walk or a bases loaded, they're changing it. And this ball hit on the ground to Maddox Shaver, who will just take the first out and make the throw over to first, and that will do it for Reese Hammerling. So runners advance to third and second, but another out, another put out for the Sylvan Lake Gulls. But a great night of work. 91 pitches for Reese Hammerling. He's shaking his head, wishing he could have got out of this inning. But a good night of work for our starter in the Sylvan Lake Gulls, and we'll send a new pitcher to the mound as he walks off with an ovation. Well, there is the WCBL Gulls All-Star, loving the music, loving the vibes, loving the situation, because Braden Stewart is known for coming into tight situations, coming in with a little pressure, and seeming to perform well when it comes to that pressure.
Yeah, runners both in scoring position. He's got 1 out. Let's see how many punch-outs he can get now.
Had a good couple punch-outs in the All-Star, and what does he do? Well, he starts it off with a fastball, 91 miles per hour. Daniel Castellanos is 1 for 3 on the night, and, you know, it's funny. Braden Stewart has a way about warming up. He throws a lot of his off-speed pitches, and then he ends it. I've noticed he'll end it with a fastball, but he'll end it with a fastball that he isn't throwing as hard as he can. he'll give the other team an 86-mile-per-hour fastball to watch go by, and then when they get into the box, he throws it over 90. And there's a 93-mile-per-hour fastball up high that had Castellanos thinking about it. So runners at third and second here, 2-1. No double play in the works here. So this ball hit right up the middle to Shaver, who makes the throw over to first. They will let one run come in to score. They will eat that and allow the Red Sox to get one on the board. But 2 down.
Yeah, for the Gulls, basically, that's the cost of doing business. You get the out, but a run will come in to score, and you're just hoping that you can get out of the inning here and just have that one come across the plate. And this is the guy that they got to be a little careful with.
Yes. Brady Bye, 3 for 3 and a homer. A solo shot back in the 6th inning that kind of got the juices flowing, got the momentum shifted in the right direction for Regina. Now down 2, and the swing of the bat, he can tie this ball game. But he's quickly down 0-2, and he's quickly learning that Braden Stewart has an arm on him. It's coming at you pretty quick. You better be able to keep up with it. And again, stays alive. 94 hitting the gun there.
Yeah, Stewart slowly turning it up a notch.
He knows how important this hitter is and how good Brady Bye can be. He's just trying to beat him with the speed right now. And that one just missing inside. Oh, no, it didn't. A delayed call by Chris Hartley had everybody fooled. It is a strikeout to Brady Bye. Oh, Chris Hartley, you had everybody fooled on that one. Wow. Count 5 Mississippis, and it's out. We'll head to the bottom of the 7th for a stretch next. The 7th inning stretch is getting everybody into it, but this is a new pitcher on the mound for the Regina Red Sox. Quinn Breen will step up into the mound from Regina, Saskatchewan. The local kid goes to Edmonton Collegiate, and he will try to keep the Gulls off the scoreboard after the Red Sox added one more in the 7th. They're still down by a pair, and Coleman Perry is at the plate to lead things off for the Sylvan Lake Gulls. Well, it has been a night, to say the least. A night of dramatic fashion as well. A little bit of drama from our umpire in Chris Hartley. Talk about a delayed call, holding out as long as he could until he finally decided that was a strike. Coleman Perry strikes it up the middle for a base hit to lead things off here in the bottom half of the inning.
Picking up right where he left off last inning. And it was a lead-off single, and that's what kind of got things going, and right up the middle he goes by the shortstop.
Welcome to the game, Quinn Breen.
No kidding.
So Jaden Flores steps in now. And you just feel that since that inning, kind of the crowd, the buzz is really amped up a little bit here in the last little bit. Maybe because the 7th inning stretch got everybody into it, got everybody loose and, you know, out of their chairs. But just the way the inning's been kind of going, too. That 5th inning, or 6th inning, sorry, the Gulls put up 5 runs and really blew things open. So Jaden Flores back for redemption against the Regina Red Sox. He's 1 for 2 on the night. Reached base twice. He's quickly up in the count, 3-0.
Then you give off the lead-off single, and then all of a sudden, 3 pitches and a walk is lurking there.
And Flores has a called strike as he tosses his bat down. Thought it was a ball. Not as delayed of a call there from Chris Hartley. I think just Flores turned around a little quickly. Now 3-1. And now he will take his base. So that'll bring up Eli Duncan. He's walked twice. He's 0 for 1 on the day. You know, I love Andrew Parks down at first base, right at the line. You know, we've had Wyatt McKnight in that position in years past with Jason Chatwood being the bench boss. And what Wyatt McKnight would do would he'd be giving out candies to anybody that reached base. What does Andrew Parks do? A nice formal handshake. Congrats, bud. Good job out there. Nice, good handshake over at first to welcome the batter. And that ball getting away from Castellanos will advance the runners an extra base.
And yet another pitch that he's kind of felt the effects of.
Yeah, that one bounced off him pretty good. And again, kind of maybe the square up for the bunt by Eli Duncan kind of threw him off a little bit as he pulled away last second. I know it would throw me off. If somebody's squared a bunt in the last minute, pulls away, and then you got to still try to make the catch on that ball.
It's a big difference in your vision changing there.
Yeah.
Having an obstruction right in your eyesight, all of a sudden it's gone.
So runners in scoring position. 0 down. And that goes in the turf as well. But a good stop there by Castellanos. He's had his work cut out for him tonight, hasn't he? And he's just going to come out and talk to his pitcher and be like, hey, man, I'm done with blocking these balls. Like, let's keep them in the air. Let's kind of give me something to catch here. Let's get everybody on the same page.
You're not the only guy out on this field. You got infielders here to help you out there, and they're expecting a bunt. So if you can induce that bunt, you're doing your job.
Yeah. And he just kind of, I don't know. I'm not great at reading lips, but it looked like he said, "Trust your pitching."
Yeah.
You know.
And that's what your catcher. That's what your catcher's there for. Build up that confidence. Make sure you're on the same page. Being, hey, I know you can do it. Let's go do it.
So Sylvan Lake Gulls looking to add to their lead. Eli Duncan at the plate, and that goes down low and away for ball 3. Gulls looking like they're maybe going to be pressing for another bases loaded situation here. Could they do it again? And they will. 4th time of the night. that the bases will be loaded for the Sylvan Lake Gulls. But let's go back to the talk. He says, you know, trust your pitching. Let's find the zone. You got this. You could do this. You know, let's make sure, and at the end, let's go.
That's the kind of leadership you want, especially that's a pretty important position because he's the one that's kind of controlling the game. He's calling the shots.
Yeah, so back-to-back walks by Quinn Breen after giving up a leading base hit from Coleman Perry. This is Maddox Shaver now. And he, you know what, he's kind of been quiet. He had that, a couple runs came to score due to an error when he was at the plate when he popped it up, but he's been kind of quiet with the bat as of late.
He's also, this is his third time that he's being involved with the bases loaded situation.
Yeah.
First one is a 2 RBI cash in with the error, and last inning he was the one who made it bases loaded, and now he's got this scenario again where he's facing bases loaded at the dish.
And you gotta feel for this pitcher Marine. You gotta feel for Daniel Castellanos. Like he's wanting his pitchers to find the zone, and they're having a tough time right now. 6 straight balls that I can count, and there he finally finds the zone. As Shaver, of course, is gonna take it all the way and kind of make this pitcher earn the zone.
Not to mention the physical toll that Castellanos has taken. He's taken quite a few pitches off the toe, off the mask, off the chest.
2-1 the count. And now it looks like maybe, just maybe, Quinn Breen is starting to feel it now. He's starting to be like, okay, I got the zone. And you can see it, even a little bit of his walk right now. He's getting a little bit of that swagger in there now. Getting a confidence back. Feeling it. Shaver lifts this right up the middle, and there he goes. 2 RBI base hit for Maddox Shaver to add to this lead. That's what you needed.
Yeah, great job for Maddox Shaver, taking advantage of the infield being in. If you put it up the middle, no one's really there unless you hit it right to the infielder, and he shoots the gap, and 2 more RBI come in to score. So that's 4 runs that he's batted in this evening. So he's had a pretty solid game.
And we talk about, with another meeting on the mound here, we talked about it, how far can Chris Hahn go? And then after that, what's the bullpen going to look like for this Regina Red Sox team? Can they back it up with relievers coming in? And so far, it's just been a little bit of a struggle with the bullpen. After Chris Hahn's work, they've kind of had a tough go, and Sylvan Lake has been taking advantage. Now up 10-6.
They certainly have, and the last pitcher that they had in the game, Garrett Mullins, he only faced 2 batters, and he got his 1 out that he needed. And he had 7 pitches, so it's kind of I guess that was his scenario to just get out of that inning.
Yeah.
And then doesn't come back, and maybe you kind of question that decision.
So still 0 outs here in the bottom half of the 7th inning. Runners on the corner. Gulls just adding 2 more to the scoreboard, now making it a 10-6 ball game. It has been a kind of a walking, hitting, error parade here tonight. But there's only 1 error, and that was to the Red Sox. I think there should have been 2. Of course, we're not the official score, so in-house here, they only have it 1 on the scoreboard. But remember that one that dropped right on the line that ended up scoring another run. Yeah, I don't know. I would think that would be an error, but again, not up to us. 1-1 to Juicy. This ball hit on the ground. Second, the throw over to first, and they got the double play. Another run does come in to score, though. Juicy will be credited the RBI, but he hits it right to the infield for a nice double play for the Regina Red Sox. Exactly what they needed there The long double play comes in handy again from Chance Deselchuk, the 5-4-3 play.
Yeah, second time that they've come around the horn. This time it's not one to end the inning with the bases loaded like they did back in the second inning, but that one was a much needed one. It clears the base paths and now kind of calms things down here for Breen on the mound.
Clary Simpson now at the plate with an RBI, a double, 1 for 3. He's reached base twice. He's had a pretty good homecoming. Back in the lineup for Clary Simpson. Takes that first pitch in for a strike. Cleary right on the ground. Breen with a great grab on the mound will put Simpson out at first. And this inning finally comes to a close, but not before Sylvan Lake puts on 3 more runs on the board, now up 11-6 over the Red Sox heading into the 8th inning. Well, there is a great shot of our crowd enjoying a beautiful night of baseball here in Sylvan Lake, Alberta. You want to join us? Well, why not come out to a luau night, or a luau night? I can't even pronounce things right anymore. But tomorrow night, that is going to be the theme here at Gulls Field against the Saskatoon Berries. So get your tickets if you're in the area at sylvanlakegulls.com. We'd love to see you here at the ballpark for luau night.
Also, wear your finest floral. I'll be wearing mine.
I'll be wearing something.
It's Hawaiian night. You got to go all out.
Yeah, I'll be wearing a little something, something. I don't have like a nice flowered shirt. I know you probably do.
I can bring one for you if you want.
But,
if you want a backup option.
There you go. It might be a dress on me because you're a little taller than I am. But yeah, we'll have some options. We'll definitely have to dress up a little bit for tomorrow night's game. But Braden Stewart will dress up this guy, number 40, Rain Krekowitz, and strike him out with 3 pitches.
1, 2, 3, bang. That's an out, and that's how he ended the inning last time. And that's what Braden Stewart does. I don't know why his name isn't spelt with a K, but it should be.
Yeah. Welcome to the Stewart Show. Alex Rowe now, or Rowe, sorry, will step up. He's 1 for 3. Struck out his last at couple of bats. When it comes to Braden Stewart, there's usually just one signal. It's 1 down into the turf. That's your sign, and you just hit it. And I got a great chance to chat with Andrew Parks about, his all-star appearance, and he said, "Man, that kid just has put out after put out after put out, and it's just the same signal every time. Kid can pitch. He's got an arm on him. 1 and 2." He's going to be the big favorite in the playoffs. You know that he's going to be the guy. They're going to bring in some huge moments, and just like that, that time it took 4 pitches to strike this guy out. How about that? Another strikeout.
Yep, Braden Stewart, 3 in a row for him. Doing what he does, he racks up the Ks on the fences, and I feel like every time he comes to the game, we're half smiling because you just watch him throw gas and throw strikes and get punch-outs. That's all he does.
Yeah. The guy's on fire. That's not what's causing the smoke in the air, but it might add to it. 0-1. And this is a dangerous batter. This guy had a 2-run homer last at bat. Sees that one go by just to kind of get an idea, because I think a lot of these batters, they know it's coming in fast. They need to know what the movement on the ball is. So it's 0-2. And he tries to go outside to get Desilchuk to maybe go chasing. It's Desilchuk. It's now 1-2. He's 2 for 3 on the night so far. And did you see that? Braden Stewart declined what Eli Duncan wanted him to do. He's like, no, I want the fastball again.
I don't know if the question is location. Where do you want
Maybe
it? Up,
it's the
down?
location or it's the pitch. Yeah, that could be it. Well, this is the most he's had to work.
Yeah.
Desilchuk giving him a pretty good run right now. Staying alive. That's 4 pitches on Desilchuk. 4 or 5 anyway. And Braden Stewart, for the first time here at Gulls Field, strikes out the side. He puts 4 straight strikeouts in a row. And he's smiling, of course. Why wouldn't you be? This kid is throwing heat and smoke and a little bit of everything in between. That was spicy. Braden Stewart doing the job. Well, here's Charlie Collins at the plate. I can't tell if it's getting smokier or what the heck's going on, but it seems like it's just getting, obviously the sun's going down too and setting, but we're here in the bottom of the 8th, and Charlie Collins has lifted this into deep right field, going all the way back and making a good catch. Fighting the smoke was Alex Rowe on Collins to lead things off here in the bottom half of the 8th inning.
And it certainly looks like things have gotten a lot grayer. You can kind of see it on the upper part of your screen. You can see across the highway, and that's pretty much it.
Yeah, you can't see much further past those trees. It kind of just goes gray after that. So, yeah, getting smoky here in central Alberta, and hopefully that smoke leaves so that we can play some more baseball tomorrow and Sunday afternoon, because lots of baseball to be played in the final 2 weeks of the season. Elijah Hamill at the plate. 1-1. One away. Hamill hits this one hopper. Great grab by Anderson. Makes the throw, and he gets it there in time. Wow, what a play by the Red Sox. Anderson takes that hard hit ball by Elijah Hamill. One hopper, makes a great grab, and then turns and fires the dart in time.
Yeah, he kind of uses that spin for some momentum and kind of makes sure he locks down that ball and then heaves it over to first base in time. Quite the athletic feat there.
Yeah, that was a huge play. That was kind of exactly what they needed too. The Red Sox. It's down 5 heading into the 9th inning.
Boreen struggled coming into this game, but that's now 5 outs in a row. He's kind of settled as...
Oh, yeah, he got the confidence.
Yeah.
Once he kind of found the strike zone those first 2 times, you could just tell. You could literally see it in his body language. He was starting to kind of feel it. And, you know, he's now back to 2-0 down in the count, but Rittenhouse is a dangerous hitter.
And you go back to that pep talk that Castellanos had with him. I do think that's a big part of it there, because that's where you started to see things change for Boreen.
Rittenhouse hits it hard on the ground, right over to Deskelchuk, making the hopper throw over to first to Brady Bye in time for a huge defensive inning of work for the Red Sox. 3 up, 3 down inning, and it'll be up to their bats to determine how the rest of this game plays out. We'll be back with the top of the 9th. Well, here is a new pitcher making his debut, literally came in today. Luke Stutzman will get a chance to see Sylvan Lake and a chance to see his first action in this ball game, and talk about kind of seeing what the kid's got, putting him into a situation to close out a game with a 5-run lead, 9th inning, trying to close out a big win against a team that made them pay in the WCBL final last year. And he finds a fastball right down the middle, 87 mile per hour. That's fouled off. But Luke Stutzman literally arrived today in Sylvan Lake because apparently Ramses Guerrero was moved to the IL. It's got a wild delivery. That one an off speed. Very quick, but then how it came out of the hand was totally different. That was kind of unique.
Yeah, he's got a lot of moving parts on his pitching mechanics there, but Seems to work for him.
And, you know, we were talking about the Gulls could probably use at least 1, 2 more closers or relievers at that. And this is a good chance to see what Stutzman's got.
Yeah.
1 and 2.
Played at Whitworth University out of Richland, Washington.
Okay.
Played there the last 2 seasons.
And he gets a strikeout, his first batter he faces in a Sylvan Lake Gull uniform. And it was nice. 87-mile-per-hour fastball. Look at this. Boom.
Yeah, paints the corner there, and it looks like the batter just kind of waves at that one. Not much he could do there.
So that'll bring up Lance Anderson. 1 for 3 with an RBI.
Stutzman, he made 16 appearances this past season, 4.21 ERA, 4-2 record, 1 save, 25 2/3 innings pitched, 16 strikeouts.
Yeah, those are good numbers.
267 batting average against.
Okay.
And
that one just gets past Coleman Perry. Nice opposite field hit for Lance Anderson to get things going for the Regina Red Sox. And of course, you look down this batting order as we go back to the top of the order. If you're Stutzman and you're the Gulls, you're probably wanting to put out the next 3 batters because you don't want to get to the 4th.
No.
Brady Bye kind of coming close to him again. So here's Ty Martinez yet again at the plate. Martinez is 0 for 1, got on base with a walk his last at bat. That is a unique delivery. I kind of like it. There's a lot of movement coming at you from the mound, and you almost wonder if that throws off the batter a little bit.
he kind of double clutches right off the hop, and then he leads with that glove hand of his. As you take a look here, things get slowed down.
Yeah.
Quick little 2-touch into the glove, and then makes his pitch. Quick pickoff move as well.
Yeah, he fired an absolute missile over to Coleman Perry. But Lance Anderson back in time. Not down and inside for ball 3. One away, Regina in the top of the 9th inning. It's an 11-6 Gulls lead. And there is the zone for Stutzman. That's fouled off to bring the count to now full 3-2.
Yeah, all of a sudden Stutzman's worked himself into a count that can go either way at this point. Good battle back for him on the mound.
Absolutely. Ball hit in the air, pop fly, left field. Justy's got a beat on it, and he will race over Colleen John Boy Rittenhouse off and making the catch for out number 2. Good play there by Dom Justy. And gotta wonder, does that smoke have some effects up there? Because it is getting smokier and smokier by the minute. And because Justy saw it from a different angle, decided to come over and call it off. Great catch.
It's quite the outfielder to be in center field, and all of a sudden you're making the catch in left field.
Yeah. And you're definitely seeing it get smokier because before this inning started, we talked about how beyond the trees you couldn't really see anything. Well, now you're starting to see that smoke almost kind of haze the trees in view right now and get in front of those trees. So it's definitely getting a little bit heavier as we go on here. The wind was blowing something in. And Stutzman up 0-2, down to the final strike, final out against the Regina Red Sox on Jake Fowler. And here comes the slow clap for Stutzman. In his debut, hit on the ground, over to Simpson, will make the throw. Perry picks it off, and this game is over. The Sylvan Lake Gulls successfully seek their revenge over the Regina Red Sox and defeat them in the first meeting of the season, 11-6. The Bird Selly is on out in center field.
Goals are flying now that they're back at home, and what an interesting game that we saw. I saw a little bit of everything. Not the cleanest baseball game we've ever seen by any stretch of the imagination, but the Gulls took advantage of some scenarios they were in. They had the bases loaded quite a few times, and they had some really good pitching tonight.
It definitely wasn't clean. It was clean for one team, though, in particular. Sylvan Lake Gulls, I feel like they put together a pretty clean game for the most part. But yes, definitely they were, maybe given a little bit of breaks from the defensive side of the Regina Red Sox, obviously slipping up a couple times, and that added a little momentum, and that gave a team that, coming into this game offensively, maybe were in their own heads. They've kind of been struggling a little bit. They're on a 3-game losing skid, their first big losing skid, I guess you could say, of the season, and, they come in and they get a little bit of that break that, Regina gives them, then they take advantage, and then they end up, going on to win. And then this guy, Reese Hammerling gave them a great opportunity to come away with the W, and he's standing by with Joe Whitbread at field level.
Ladies and gentlemen, I now draw your attention behind home place. It is time to announce the player of the game, the starting pitcher from tonight's ball game, number 15, Reese Hammerling. Reese, you've had this one circled on your calendar for a while. It looks like you've got family and friends in attendance. Congratulations on a Gulls win.
Yeah, thank you. I have a lot of family and friends here, so it's awesome that they could make it down here.
Let's talk quickly about the road trip. It went your way early in Fort McMurray. It did not go your way in Spruce Grove. Good to get a win again.
Yeah, absolutely. Need to get back in the win column, and, we're heading into playoffs soon, so this is good for us.
How did it feel for you? You started this game, family in attendance. Were there some nerves tonight? You threw a lot of Ks. You had some control. How did it feel for you?
Yeah, there was definitely some nerves there. But, yeah, a lot of family and friends, and, my teammates are good behind me, and, yeah.
Reese, congratulations. I know it's great to win a ball game, even better when your family and friends can be here. Congrats on Player of the Game honors.
Absolutely. Thank you.
The player of the game in this ball game, the starting...
Well, there you have it. Reese Hammerling, he is your starting pitcher, and I believe he's your winning pitcher at that as well, to give the Sylvan Lake Gulls a huge win over the Regina Red Sox, redeeming themselves from last year's WCBL championship final upset that had left a sour taste and a sting in a lot of these Gulls fans' hearts. But they get the revenge, they get a little bit of that happiness back into the crowd, and there's nothing like home cooking, Scott, that get you off the schneid as well.
Yeah, the fans were great tonight. They kind of kept them in the game, and we saw some momentum swing, and one of those seemed to be that 7th inning stretch. They came alive, the music was right, the vibes were right, fans were into it, the players were into it, and that kind of shifted this game and carried them home.
It really was, and it was kind of a weird game. Regina did what they kind of did to the Gulls in the playoffs last year. They got off to a great start, and they weren't really giving the Gulls much offensively at all. And even with a team, like we mentioned, coming in off a 3-game losing skid, not quite feeling it, Regina slips up once, and that's all it took for Sylvan Lake to kind of get the wheels in motion.
Yeah, it was kind of early on, that second chance where they had the bases loaded, the Gulls. They had it in the second, and I think it was the 4th or 5th inning the next chance was, and Maddox Shaver's at the bat, easy routine, pop fly, 2 outs, and it goes off the glove, and 2 runs come in to score, and that's really what started to change the complexion of the game. They have bases loaded a couple more times, and a couple more times luck goes their way and they score more runs.
It was a meaningful game, especially in this point of the season. You know, we're getting ready for playoffs, and the Sylvan Lake Gulls schedule doesn't get really any easier. Saskatoon Berries will be in town for a pair starting tomorrow, but yeah, this game was definitely not how you necessarily draw a win up, but they don't ask you how, they ask you how many. Obviously, Brady Bye continues to be just an absolute workhorse for this Regina Red Sox team. They weren't really going down without a fight, that's for sure. They made some really great catches defensively, and then defensively things started to fall apart as well in the same way. But, you know, the offense finally got things going. Elijah Hamill driving in a couple runs. And then you also got Maddox Shaver. He drives in a couple runs. It's another drop ball that, you know, maybe could have been caught, but Braden Stewart comes in, closes the door. We see the, you know, preview of Luke Stutzman and what he's got for the Sylvan Lake Gulls, and we'll see more tomorrow night against the Saskatoon Berries as Sylvan Lake Gulls take this one 11-6 for Scott Stimson, Calvin Bellows. I'm Cale Clark with another Bird's Eye View. Good night.